How is everybody doing? Hello, hello, hello. A little bit. All right. How is everybody doing today? Making sure everybody's on point. This is the live for the State of the Union. I hope that everybody has actually managed to see it by now. Hopefully. Well, not everybody. I know that some people might be watching it now. I know that some people might actually be watching it right now. Some people might be watching it right now. Let me get this back in here. How is everybody doing? How is everyone doing, guys? How is everybody doing? I'm actually broadcasting to so many places that I know that it's going to be quite challenging. Arthur Dev, how are you? Marty McFlee, how are you? G, how are you? I'm actually trying to get my headset working. Hopefully you can hear me. I can't hear myself, but hopefully you can hear me. I do not know why I can't hear myself. Let me see. I don't know why I cannot hear myself. Okay, now I can. Now I can. All right. Let's disconnect that. All right. I do not know why I cannot hear myself. But anyway, hopefully you can hear me. Welcome, everybody. TikTokers, Substackers, Instagrammers. Welcome to the show. How is everybody doing? How is everybody doing? How is everybody doing? Okay, thank you. Okay, so from New Jersey, we've got Charles Wald, Kathy Boz from USA, Larry Thompson from Barbados. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, guys, I'm just going to wait for people to get in and also at the same time try and fix my damn monitor, which doesn't seem to be operational for some reason. I don't know why this thing is not giving me any audio. Try and fix that. I do not know why it is not giving me audio, but we will see what happens. Let me turn off Bluetooth. There. All right. Turn off Bluetooth. Yeah. There we go. That's probably, yeah, that was what the issue was. All right, guys, now we're in the house. Now we are in the house. Yes. So hopefully you guys have actually had a chance to watch the address. And this is obviously a Q&A where we're going to talk about some of the things I discussed in that State of the Union. You can actually see it on YouTube. So if you've not watched it, you can go and watch it on YouTube. It's screening now. So nobody's watched the whole thing. If you're not on my newsletter or Patreon, you would not have seen it because it is only just screening now on YouTube. So you're going to have to get over to YouTube right now if you want to see what is going on. All right. Let me actually get myself here. So I've got the Instagram. All right. So there we go. There we go. All right, guys. Yeah, so I'm just waiting for folks to get in. It always takes a little bit of time for people to get in. How you doing, brother? I was worried the other day. I thought I missed out on the State of the Union address. MJ Ani, no, you didn't. I think you've gotten it now. Hopefully you've gotten it. MJ Ani, hopefully you've gotten it. Hopefully you've gotten it, MJ and Me. You did not miss out on it. Hopefully you've now received the address. Everybody on TikTok, if you haven't seen it, you're going to have to go over to my YouTube channel to watch. Everybody who's watching on various platforms, I'm primarily broadcasting from my Substack, which is there if you're on my newsletter, and my YouTube, which is right here. So you can get over to YouTube or Substack and you can directly interact with me. But I'm just waiting for people to finish the video. And then once they finish the video, they will start coming into the show because the video is currently broadcasting. The video is currently broadcasting. I think it's actually finished. I think it's finished now. Okay, I think it is finished. So we should have some people coming in the house now. I think it is actually finished. How is everybody doing today? And as I said, this is what was actually going to be an interesting one because yesterday when I actually had the conversation with people about, or rather not only yesterday, I mean, over the last few days, we have been having conversations with people about some of the stuff that I was discussing in that address and saying that, look, we will see if there will be any people who join the 300. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about that concept I have in terms of creating a financing model for what I'm doing, which is separate from the algorithms that exist, separate from Patreon, Kickstarter, GoFundMe, and all of those things, and doing something that is completely separate from that and directly controlled by the community. That is really what I want to set up. And the question is whether or not we will get enough people. That was the question that I had with folks, is that, people were saying that, oh no, definitely you will. And I said, listen, I'm not so sure about that. I am not so sure about that, but you can only try. You can only try, and you see what happens. You can only try and see what happens. Let me see, why is... That's really interesting. I don't have my banners that I set up. I set up a whole bunch of banners and it is not even coming up here for some reason. It is not coming up here for some reason. Anyway, that is what it is. I set up my banners. They are not coming up, but that is what it is. So guys, hello from the Bronx. Okay. Lifeblood, how are you? Michael Takini, how are you? Angela Geitzen, Cyril, how are you? G. Cooper, MCP, what's going on? Vaughn Scott, how are you? Joshua, how are you? Lorita Kusiwa, how are you? How are you? So my first question on the floor is, do you think Rwanda is involved in the conflict in Congo directly? Well, that's not what we're talking about right now. That's not what we're talking about right now. So I can't really comment on that per se, because that's not what we're actually, that's not what we're talking about right now. I have to look into that, best personally. I mean, I've done videos on Congo and Rwanda conflicts. I've done quite a few videos on it. But as far as what is going on right now, I mean, I'm probably going to have to do another video, directly dealing with that. But what we're talking about now is the State of the African Union address that I did. If you've not seen it, you should go over to YouTube and watch it, or via my newsletter, because that's what we're going to be talking about today in this broadcast. And basically, like I said, it's just the idea that, with what has happened with the Sahel Alliance and the things that we know that those guys are doing, it's really inspired me to create a similar sort of, how do I say, a similar sort of initiative for the community, where the community is actually going to come together and become self-sufficient. Let's just put it that way, become absolutely self-sufficient. You know, that is the idea. That is the idea. That being said, guys, how is everybody? How many of you guys have actually seen the State of the Union address? That is the question. We start there. Let us start with how many of you have actually seen it? Then we'll start talking about the comments and thoughts that you have. How many of you have seen it? Hawaii, that's fine. That's fine. You can stay on Substack. You can stay on Substack. That's fine. I mean, the primary places would be the Substack app. So if you're on there, that's fine. I can see your comments. I can interact with you. And if you're on YouTube, those are the two places that's easiest for me to interact. Everywhere else, because I'm broadcasting on like Substack, YouTube, X, Instagram, and TikTok at the same time. So that's a lot of places. And Telegram, actually. I don't know if the Telegram one is working, though. I don't know if the Telegram one is working. Not fully seen it. Okay. I suggest that you guys watch it before coming into the live because it's now live on my platform. I haven't released it on Instagram yet. I will release it on Instagram after the show. And I will release it on TikTok after the show. So it will be released on all my platforms after the show. But it's at the moment, it is only on YouTube and my newsletter. My newsletter people got it early, so they've got it. They've had it since yesterday, and Patreon have had it. I think for 2 days. They had it before that. But I definitely want to talk about that topic. So that's why I'm asking who has seen it. You didn't have Heart to Watch. Why, Scott B? Why do you not have Heart to Watch? Hawaii haven't seen it yet. No, everybody go and watch that, please. We're here on the live. It's only 10, I think it's 11 minutes long. Go and watch it and then come back. In order for you to be in this conversation, you have to have seen it. I would love to play it for you. In fact, I could play it, but I mean, I don't want to play it and mess up the live, so it's easier for you to go and watch it and then come back. If you're on the newsletter, it went into your email inbox, so you don't even need to go to YouTube. Just go to your email. The last broadcast that I sent to you was that, so you should be able to get that. You shouldn't have a problem with that. Second of all, guys, on a technical thing, is my voice synced in with my video? Because I had a voice video sync problem. I had a voice sync video problem on my last live that I did, which I found out after the fact. So tell me if my voice video is syncing correctly. Tell me if my voice video is syncing correctly. And then I want to know how many of you have seen the address. If you've not seen it, please go and watch it and then return to the live. If you've not seen it, please go and watch it and then return to the live. Thank you. Thank you very much. On another note, guys, I talked about this. I do have a movie channel that's going to be coming out. People seem to want a movie channel from the MEC, so the MEC is going to release a movie channel. I do have a movie channel that is going to be coming out, which will be dealing with films. So I mean, just look out for that. That's going to be another channel on the network, which would be, and this is not like African films. This is all movies, and primarily I wanted to do retro films. I really wanted to look backwards and do retro movies and looking at movies from the past. I mean, that's really what I want to look at. I'm not really interested in the new stuff. I'm interested in the classics, but I will do some new stuff as well. But the point is that there's going to be a movie channel coming out, so look out for that in the future. Look out for that in the future. But please, once you've seen the address, come back in and let me know that you've seen it so we can start having a conversation about this. Bottom of the barrel, Virgil. Let me bring Virgil in so we can have a proper conversation. Invite guests. Let me bring Virgil in here. Virgil, get your lighting correct, get your sound correct, and click the link. Virgil, get your lighting correct, get your sound correct, and click the link. Virgil. Let me actually get my lights. think I have too much. There we go. I think I was a little bit too bright on the things here. Virgil, click the link and I'll bring you in. Click the link and I'll bring you into the live. Let's get this conversation underway. Let's get this conversation underway. Guys, when you've seen it, come back in. Sorry, dumb American here. I thought you meant Trump. Oh, no. I didn't mean Trump, Scott B. No, the State of the African Union. How long have you been subscribed? Because if you've only just subscribed, then you wouldn't have got the email. Like that was the last email I sent, and that was like, I don't know, yesterday, with the link to the address. So you wouldn't have seen it if you didn't watch it yesterday. And if you're from the US, are you African? Are you white, black, Latin, Indian? What's your heritage, Scott B? And Virgil, where are you? What's going on? How come you're taking so long to get on this live? What's going on, Virgil? What is going on, Virgil? And where is everybody? I thought I told people that they should get on here today. What's happening? Where is everyone? J Vibes, what is the conversation? We're talking about the State of the African Union address that I gave, the video I put out. It is now available on YouTube. I will be releasing it on TikTok and Instagram after the show. But if you want to watch it now, you can go over there. Also on my newsletter and Patreon, we're talking about that. That is what the conversation is about. So you would have needed to have seen that too. I mean, look, the conversation is basically about the African future and building the bridges between Africa and the diaspora, and also self-sufficiency and autonomy for the platform, and the initiative that I'm starting in order to achieve that. That is what it's really basically about. That's what we're talking about. But I'm waiting for people to actually watch it because I thought they would have seen it by now because it got released. I've put it out to the newsletter has already had it. The Patreon has had it. Now YouTube has it. But obviously, a lot of people still haven't watched it. So I'm now waiting on the live for people to go and see it. And then we can actually have this conversation. Because it's difficult to have the convo if people haven't actually seen the video. It's difficult to have the convo if people haven't seen the video. So in the meantime, I'm just giving guys some updates on things. Let's see. By the way, Back to Africa Handbook as well, still available. Click the link in my profile bio if you want to grab a copy of that, the ebook, 82-page guide, visits, move to Africa. Great book to have. Grab that if you want. I also have some other news to do with the graphic novel. I've actually been trying to get that thing off the ground. I don't know what is going on with that's a whole other conversation because there's a big delay on that. Big delay on that for some reason. One love, peace, Africa. Africa unites, Africa unites. Please, Shabaka, welcome to the live, but could you not type in all caps? It's very difficult to read all caps. If you could type your comments without using all caps, that would be great. That will be great if you can do that. And regarding the Congo thing that people keep bringing up, the Congo situation, I don't know what to say about that, to be honest, because I haven't really been following that story. So it's difficult for me to give commentary on that because I haven't been following the story. So I would have to, read up. I know that there's been a flare-up of what's going on, but I haven't been following the story recently to be able to give any real feedback. I haven't been following the story recently. Virgil, where are you? What's going on here? What happened to Virgil? He disappeared. What's happened? What's happened? Guys, what is going on with folks? Where is everybody? How come I'm waiting for you to come back? I am waiting for you to come back. You've got to let me know that you're back. You've got to let me know that you're back. Only AES is ready and few countries of them. Stephen Cadden, that's why I said you've got to watch the State of the African Union. It's inspiration now. Like, you can't wait for anybody to come and join you in what you're doing. You've got to go forward. You've got to go forward. Yeah, look, like I said, I do not know about the Congo situation immediately. Like that, I can't speak about. I try not to talk about things that I do not have information on. I try to avoid that. And I do not have information right now on Congo and Rwanda. I will look into it. Seeing as it seems to be a major issue that's going on right now, I will look into the Congo and Rwanda situation and get back to you. I've put out videos about why the Congo and Rwanda. You know what I might do? I might repost the video I made. I have a video about the Congo-Rwanda conflict. I will repost it because obviously there is now a flare-up of the situation. I will repost my Congo and Rwanda video for the community. I will repost it. Seeing as there is an issue now, I will let people know what the hell is going on over there. Because I do have a video specifically about that history. I do have a video specifically about that history. Trying to connect. Virgil, so you should be able to... Did you click the link? Did you click the link? The link should work. Like, you shouldn't have any issues. You shouldn't have any issues whatsoever. You click the link and it's not. So then what's the problem? It's just not coming up. What's the issue? Ah, there we go. I saw you for a second. I saw you for a second. Guys, as you come back, let me know if you've seen the address. If you're on Substack here, let me know that you're on. If you're on Substack, let me know that you're on. Let me know that you're on. And if you've gotten that broadcast. Let me know that you're on. All right. Yeah, no, for some reason, this thing is... By the way, when it comes to, which is actually part of what I wanted to talk about this thing, like it is unbelievable what has happened to TikTok as a platform now for me. It's unbelievable. It is literally a waste of time posting anything on there. I cannot get any traction whatsoever. Okay, restart the laptop. I mean, you should have been able to click into it. I don't know what the problem is. So yeah, restart and come back. But well, I'm waiting. You know, I don't even want to bring one person in. I'd like to bring multiple people in. So anybody here who's seen the State of the Union address and wants to join, I would like to bring multiple people into the conversation. You know, I don't know why people are delaying so much. I mean, look, it's a Friday. What's a Friday night? What's the issue? Where is everybody? You see, this is the thing I was talking about yesterday when I was having a conversation with some of the fans. Lengridem's Life, how are you? Thank you for joining. Lengridem's Life just became a member of the YouTube channel. Thank you for joining the YouTube channel membership. Lengridem's Life. Have you seen the State of the Union of Lengridem's Life? Would you like to come onto the show to discuss your thoughts on the State of the Union address? Anybody who has seen the address and you are on YouTube right now, would you like to come onto the show to discuss your thoughts on the address? Lucas Derao, how are you? Dori Me, how are you? Candy DB, how are you? Etienne Libod, how are you? But you see, this is part of what I was discussing yesterday when I was having I don't know if it was yesterday or 2 days ago, I was having the conversation. I said, you see, part of the reason why I'm always very, I wouldn't say lack optimism, but I'm always very careful about having too much optimism when it comes to the community is just from experience, knowing how hard it is to motivate people to actually take actions or mobilize for any conversations like this is always very challenging. So I never really go forward thinking that I'm going to have, you see, for something like this, let's say this sort of conversation that we're having now, this is actually a very, very important conversation that we need to be having. But I knew that I'm going to throw this live up and it's going to be very difficult to motivate guys to have this conversation. I said I knew it. So when people were talking to me about it, I say, oh, no, we'll be, I'm like, no. It won't be. I'll give you a good example. When my movie channel starts, which I'm starting now, my movie channel, it will be easier to get people to come and talk about Superman and Batman and Marvel Avengers than it's going to be to talk about these sort of issues. Wolfinity, how are you? How are you doing? How are you doing, Wolfinity? I see you watching from Michigan. Wolfinity watching from Michigan. So that's the thing. So I always feel that way. I'm like, man, you know, these are things we should be taking seriously. If Chijea saw the address, what you said about understanding the plight of foundational Black Americans is important. Many of us Africans have made ourselves tools to create further division. Yes, I agree. I agree. You know, I talked about that in the State of the African Union address. I talked about a lot of things. I talked about a lot of things in that address. I talked about a lot of things in that address. Thank you for watching it, Ifi Chiegina. Thank you for watching it, Ifi Chiegina. You know, I mean, these are all things that are very important. But I think, you know, the primary theme of the address is unity. The primary theme is unity and building the bridge. I mean, I think it's very important that the bridge is built. I know it is going to be very difficult to do that. And the concept of the 300 that I had, it's a test, you know, it's a social experiment. I want to see if it works. As I said, I'm not particularly optimistic that it's going to work. I'm not particularly optimistic that it's going to work, but I want to see if it does. I really want to see if it does. Guys, I am waiting for... Hold on. Community. All right. Yeah, there we go. So that's really what it's about. That's really what it's about. Like, I realize, I'm like, I'm wary about starting the movie channel, because I'm like, the movie channel might get more traction than my stuff that I'm talking about. Serious matters here. Because this is serious. Like, the stuff I talk about on this platform is serious. Like, this is real. This is the stuff that affects lives, Even when we're looking at the Congo-Rwanda conflict now, it's like, yeah, I mean, these are the sorts of topics that we're talking about. I will look into that. I will put something out about that, but these are the topics that we're discussing. But when it comes to the movies, look, movies are important for reasons that are not what people think. I think that it's very important when it comes to society and narrative control, when it comes to media and entertainment, which is why it's important to actually have conversations about that sort of thing, because of the impact that it has on society. But inherently, in and of itself, thank you, the Jughead. Thank you very much for the super chats from the Jughead. Africa will unite. It's inevitable. Love and respect from a Nigerian brother over here in the UK. Thank you very much, the Jughead 77, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yeah, guys, I mean, that's the thing. It's difficult, because if we don't stick together and we don't build anything together, we're never going to be able to change things. Like, we won't. It's just not going to happen. Because why are they shadow banning me? Because of the things. Isn't it obvious why I'm getting shadow banned? Look at my TikTok live now. It's got 3 people. My TikTok following is 500,000. I've got over 500,000, 700,000 people on my TikTok. I've got 3 people in the live. This particular account I'm broadcasting from has almost 80,000 on TikTok. I've got 3 people in the live. Talk to me. That's what we're dealing with here, guys. That's the reason why I'm trying to build what I'm building, because it's pointless when you're in a situation that another community is in control of whether or not you can communicate with your own community, and is dictating what you can and cannot say to your community. You're finished. When you're in a position like that, you're finished, which is what we're doing. And we have a community that do not want to be free. We have a community that do not want to be free. They talk about freedom, but they don't want to be free. They don't. Our community does not want to be free. Don't get it twisted. It's a fact. The psychological damage is so deep. The damage psychologically is so deep. We have a community that doesn't want to be free. DV, I've stopped watching biopics. No matter what you learn later on, first exposure will stick with you. And rarely is anybody with your best interest in mind in charge of shaping the films. Yes, DV, of course you're right. But like I said, we talk. You see, this is all we do is talk. We don't do anything. We just talk. That's why nobody takes you seriously. Not you specifically. I'm talking about the Black and African community, because guys just talk. I would never take anybody seriously who just talks and begs me to do something for them. I wouldn't take you seriously. Think about it on a personal level. If there was a guy in your group of friends who just keeps begging you and asking you to do something for him, would you take him seriously? Would you respect him? I wouldn't respect that guy. I respect the guy who does things. In fact, I respect the guy who comes to fight me to take what I have more than the guy who's begging me for things. I respect him more. Just put it down to those levels, and things become a little bit easier to understand what I'm talking about. Things become a little bit easier to understand what I'm talking about. It's not rocket science, guys. It's not rocket science. Africa and BRICS are the future. You are correct, Mike. Most of us are cowards, do not want to put in the work for freedom. Yep. But the thing is that, listen, Jughead, I don't know you, but I would even ask you, what are you doing? Because I think the thing is, people say a lot of things, and people even say things like, oh, everybody are cowards, they're lazy. I'm like, no, okay, forget about them. What are you doing? What are you doing specifically? Because that is the problem. People just talk. And even on my platform, the amount of people who come to my platform as well, who just want to, they say, listen, you give us stuff. We don't want to actually do anything. We want you to give us stuff. We want you to give us up. Fan base, you know what? Fan base is good. I joined fan base as well. But the reality for it is that for me, it's the problem I've had with fan base is very simple. I just do not know how to use the thing. It seems so focused on making money, like, you know, monetizing everything, that I can't build a community over there. I'm like, it doesn't feel like it's a community building platform. It's like, it feels like a platform for monetization. And for something like somebody like me who's doing what I'm doing, that's not really that beneficial. It's not really that beneficial. That's my experience with it anyway. Still waiting for Virgil. Virgil, where are you? Are you back? Have you restarted your computer? Guys, that's the link I just put in there. Anybody who's watching on YouTube, you can click that link if you have a camera and microphone and join the conversation. I really specifically want people who have seen the State of the Union address. That is really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for people who've actually seen it so we can have a conversation about that. That is specifically what I'm looking for, guys. So if you've actually seen it, I want you to jump on the live. If you haven't seen it, I want you to go and watch it. We are ready for a new Nigeria. Well, we'll see about that. We'll see about that. Good question, Mr. Mac. I've been involved in so-called conscious organizations over here in the UK, and they are all talk. I wasted 2 decades with these fools. I'm concentrating on growing my. Yeah, but listen, Mr. Jughead, I get what you're saying. My point is that, you know, again, okay, those guys wasted your time. What are you doing? What are you planning to do? What are you doing? What are you planning to do? You know, those are the important questions, because let's listen again, which is where the address came in, and what I talked about in that thing is that the reason why I even created the 300 concept is that I want to see if there are 300 people who want to actually do something. I just want to see if that exists, because that concept 300 is too few a number. There should be 10,000 people, because the idea is to create your own funding circle for people that can actually go out and make the things that are important for the community. That's really what it's about. So from my point of view, it's like, look, if I cannot find 300 people who are willing to commit and support me in what I'm trying to do, after the 2 years that I've done what I've been doing and the hundreds of videos and hundreds of articles that I've put out, then what are we really talking about? It doesn't mean I'm going to stop, because I enjoy doing what I do, but it means that I will have to obviously rethink the focus that I have, because there are other areas and other things that I'm interested in doing that are more sustainable. You know, there's a lot of things that are more sustainable. Because I think the thing that frustrates me is that with the amount of problems that we have, and then I look at other communities that, you know, are completely fine. Like the white community is fine. Like, you know, they don't have issues like us, like we do. Yet they can get more support for organizations and things that are actually against us. That is what is so worrying to me. Is like, my goodness, these guys can actually raise more capital and more support for things that are actually harmful to our community, but we cannot raise the kind of support necessary to create things that are actually defensive measures. And defensive measures is not even military, so I'm not talking about that. I mean basic education and information. That is defensive measures for us, is creating a system of being able to control your narrative, control your educational system, control your information, control your media, control your art, control your news independently. Like these things, control your history and the knowledge of history. These are things that are important, but we simply do not have enough people that value that enough to actually do something about supporting it and controlling it. We don't have enough people. That is one of the motivations for me even starting this program, is like, let me see if I can even put together that number of folks who are serious. Because you know from my end that I'm always going to deliver. I'll always deliver. I've been delivering for 2 years, so I'm always going to deliver. So from my side of the fence, if it comes down to like, look, this is the project we're doing, this is what we're doing, and guys are supporting this thing, I will always deliver. Let me bring the jughead in here. The jughead, your camera is very hazy. What's going on with your camera, the jughead? Oh, there we go. I see you now.
Yeah, brother. How you doing? Welcome, brother. How you doing, my friend?
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, right? It's evening for you?
And you can, yeah. And it's about 12:45 a.m.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah, you're committed. Thank you.
I'm in the middle of a workout. My spare room did a workout, so I can't stay long.
All right.
Yeah, man, I've seen your videos, man. I'm very impressed with videos.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're precise. And yeah, the topic, you're not to the point. I mean, you're straight to the point. You don't mess about. That's what we need, because at this late juncture of Africa's rising, those people,
Yeah. No, I mean, look, like I said, when we're talking in the chat, I think the problem is that, we are scared of power. We are afraid of power. We are slaves. And when you've been brought up as slaves and conditioned as slaves and colonized people, one of the foundational tenets of the psychological manipulation necessary to keep people as slaves or colonized is to create a fear of responsibility and power. It's very important. You've got to make people believe that they cannot govern themselves, that they cannot look after themselves. So the instinct is to look to the superior power to look after you. That is just the instinct. And we pass that on to our children. And that is the biggest crime. And that is the crime that I'm trying to correct. And I try to correct in my platform. We are criminals now as adults. I'm assuming you and I are probably the same age. I look young, but we're probably the same age.
Yeah,
and well, we're not, I'm not far from you, but I'm an old man, so I'm not a kid. And I've seen a lot of decades. And from my perspective, going from 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever, things have changed. I'm looking at the situation now and I'm saying to myself that we have a serious problem. We have a very, very serious problem, because we've got either a group of people that do not know that they're in a war. They don't know that they are. And those who do are too scared to do anything about it. And this is not a thing about guns and nope, it's got nothing to do with that. This is about your very personhood, your identity, your narrative, your image, and the fact that we have a community of people that do not want to control that. They do not want power. They do not want to have that control. And if anybody stands up and says, well, I want to, it's your brothers and sisters that will fight you. They're the ones who will come after you and try and take you down and try and compromise what it is that you're doing. That is the reality. So that's why I was asking you. I was like, listen, forget about what those people did to mess you around. What are you doing? Like, what's the roles that you're going to play?
Every time I chat, before I came on, Brother Mac, I replied to the question you asked me in the chat. Basically, what I've been doing since COVID, this COVID pandemic last 3 years, I've been concentrating myself now. Being on personal wealth. I'm linking my brothers in America. I want to go to Africa, Liberia, West Africa, and build property there. And they seem serious. So what I'm doing myself, even though I was born here in the UK, it's in my accent. I'm not British born. It's in my accent. I talk like London. I'm a proper Londoner. My intention is to go to Africa. I've been to Nigeria 6 times. I love it there. And last I was there was pre-COVID. with 2017. Yeah, 2017. That's my fifth time. I want to go this year, 2025, and apparently I'm going to 3 4 years time because once I get crypto, build my personal wealth, build residual income, and then I can leave the plantation and start back up in Nigeria. And but again, Nigeria right now, a bit of debate in Chad. Nigeria is rough because we had about the Sahel kings, Traore, and there were two. If Nigeria leaders like those, Nigeria is power. Nigeria will suffer from misleadership. Since Buhari's Muhammad's murder, was it 75? Or was it 8 years old? I'm sure my age now.
When
Versus,
who was?
sorry,
When?
Muhammad, was it 75 years killed?
I can't remember the date
Yeah,
exactly.
I think in mid 70s. And we've had one good leader since then. Buhari, 84. We had a good leader. We got him the first time. Buhari, 84. Idiabo. Those two leaders were strong, man. And but since then, we had a succession of clowns and misfits. That used to be like Dubai times 10. That used to be like
Right.
on steroids.
Let me bring Virgil in. Let me bring Virgil in. Virgil, you might want to back up a little bit. You're a bit close to your cam, but I'm going to bring you in right now. Let me bring Virgil in. All right. Good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yes. Welcome to
Yeah,
the show.
apologies about earlier. Just I would say a minor glitch, but it's much
Yeah,
more
no
than
problem.
yeah.
No
How's everybody
problem.
doing? Congratulations on the show tonight. Hopefully everything goes well as we spoke about yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's see what happens. Like I said, look, I don't like to be negative, but I know what my experience is. Uh-oh. Am I echoing?
No, that was
Oh,
me.
all
I
right.
just
Okay.
needed the
Yeah. So I don't want to be negative, obviously, but I know what my experience is. And my main thing is just providing the platforms necessary. And then I will see what our community does in response to that. But
Mhm.
there is not much more that I can do. That's just the reality of it. There's not much more I can do. I've done the work, I've created the projects, I've done everything, but I've now realized that look, I've got one of two options. I'm not going to get sponsorships. That's not going to happen. So the people who have platforms as big as mine, there are very few people on social media who are personalities who actually talk that have 1 million followers, or subscribers, or 100,000 plus on YouTube or whatever, that do not have sponsorships. I know why I don't have sponsorships, because of what I make. This is not the type of thing that sponsors want to sponsor, basically.
Yeah.
So therefore, the only option I have is for my community to actually finance and fund the growth of the platform. Me creating the 300 concept is that because of what I looked with the Sahel Alliance and the principles of what they're doing, it is the same thing. It's like, look, we know that the community, the whole of Africa is not going to go with us, but we have a common interest in our little area. Let us find the people that have a like mind, and we ally with the people that have a like mind. And that has inspired so many Africans and Black people all over the world, what those guys are doing. So my view is that if I can get this thing going and I can show people what is possible from just 300 people, hopefully people will understand that we don't have to wait for YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or Patreon or subs. We don't have to wait for any of these things to actually
Well,
come together.
not just
Say
that, you
what?
could pretty much do anything that you want without uh, without the concern of like YouTube or Twitter or X or Instagram blocking you based off of
Because
something you
yeah,
said.
but we know that, but that's the problem. It's like we don't have a community that is on the same page. You see,
Mhm.
you and I talking about this, it's not rocket science. It's so simple. It's very simple. It's not complicated. You will not be supported by these platforms. They will do what they did to African Stream and just get rid of you. You're gone. And there's
Mhm.
nothing you can do about it. If you can separate yourselves and say, listen, we will go and we'll create our own community and our own funding system where we do not have to worry about advertisers. We do not have to worry about sponsors. We do not have to worry about that, because that is how you get censored.
Yeah.
When you get a big voice, the sponsors censor you.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? It's the
So
sponsors that will stop you from doing things.
with what you're doing, I mean, you have approximately 100,000 subscribers, YouTube subscribers, right? Compared to, say, a random YouTube channel that has 1 million. If you could gather up 300 people, like it'll be much more valuable than your counterparts. Trust me. Like you describe them as diehards, it's quality over quantity in my book. So that's
No,
like the smartest thing that you could do. Very strategic. You're ahead of your time. Yeah.
100%. Listen, it's like I said, it's like people don't understand the power of that. Like, do you
Yeah.
realize? Let me tell you this, right? Somebody was saying this. Maybe she'll come on the live, and she isn't here now. She was like, "Oh, you'll get 1,000 people," and I told her, I said, "Do you know what could be achieved with 1,000 people doing this? Imagine
Dedicated followers.
a thousand
Dedicated.
people who, because the concept of 300 is that it's $100 every quarter. That's
Mhm.
£80 if you're in the UK every quarter, not every week, not every month, every 3 months. That's it. 80
Mhm.
pounds every 3 months. Imagine 1,000 people putting that in. That's £80,000 every 3 months to do whatever I want to do, whatever is going to be built, whatever project. There is no limit, because the thing is, I keep saying about that concept is that it's a baby version of it's what Patreon is.
Mhm.
There are people on Patreon who are making $1 million a month on Patreon patrons, doing
Mhm.
whatever they're doing. But we have something that is so important. And now that I've seen what's happened, because I don't know if you've been following my TikTok is a dead platform now. It's dead. Like do you know what views I average on TikTok now is 300 views?
I've heard TikTok is powerful. I mean, I don't subscribe to TikTok because I've heard a lot of things, and I don't think they're rumors with the whole spying software or malware or whatever. So I've always
Mhm.
refrained from using it. But the fact that they blocked you or they prevented you from like actually flourishing in TikTok
Oh my
says a
goodness.
lot because it's one of the more liberal platforms. Am I correct?
Yes. The problem is that, as you know, with the content I make,
Yes.
my content is not quite the same as like the other African creators either. Like, I'm not ranting and raving and just like, let me just do some rage bait
Hmm.
videos. My
Hmm.
videos are actually constructive thoughts pieces about, this is the information, this is what is happening, this is how we need to think about it, and this is what we can do. The
Sir,
problem
that's the
with
problem.
That's
That's
the
the
problem.
problem. You're doing it the correct way, and they don't want that. Like, but believe me when I tell you, like, you're the only one who I've reached out to, and you actually responded. I've reached out to other African streamers. I've reached out to FBA streamers, and I would try to like pitch point your view. Even before I met you, like I would tell them like, hey, uh, I'm black, obviously, right? Born and raised in the US, but I mean, uh, I'm not FBA, so to
Right,
speak. And they
right.
take it, like, oh, you're either with us or without us. Yeah, I do get it, but I mean, we need to find a common ground. We can work together, but they refuse to believe that. And same thing with some of the Haitian counterparts. Like they refuse to believe that FBAs. I mean, not all of them, but like a good number of them believe that. And you've witnessed it too. Like what's said behind closed doors. You see what I'm saying? So it's
Mhm.
very difficult to find people like you're Nigerian, I'm Haitian. I know there are some like FBAs who think like us. I mean, obviously, there's some of your followers, but we're in the minority within a minority.
Well,
So
yeah, no, you have to think, like, this is the thing, and I'm going to say something real now, and then Jughead, you should come in and give your thoughts on this. This is something I've said. Forgetting about the skin color, white and black, let's just talk
mhm,
about empires. Why do we consistently underestimate the will and the power of the British and the American Empire to maintain the status quo? Do you think for a second that the division between FBA and immigrants and stuff is not orchestrated?
it's
Do you
obviously
think it's not
orchestrated.
orchestrated? Think about this. People confuse conspiracy, and let's just call it conspiracy of origin and conspiracy of opportunity. Now, the conspiracy of origin, I'm going to describe what I mean by that. A conspiracy of origin is that I work with the two of you, Jughead and Virgil, to create a conspiracy. We create a conspiracy together against the FBAs or against Mr. Blue or Mr. Green or whatever. And we plan it and we set up the conspiracy to go against them, right? That is a conspiracy of origin. A conspiracy of opportunity is we see Mr. Green fighting with Mr. Blue, or we see that they have a problem with each other potentially, right? And when we see that they have a problem potentially, we realize that, ooh, we don't want to have to fight both of them. What if we can fan the flame of the issue that Mr. Blue and Mr. Green are having? And if we just fan it and put this stuff on more media channels and put it out there and talk about it more, whatever, that's going to become a real issue. And they're going to fight each other. And we don't have to fight them because they're going to be fighting each other.
No different from the African tribes during the slave trade. No different.
Exactly.
The Native Americans during the colonial era. You know, like they'll just divide and conquer. It's very simple.
It's a conspiracy of opportunity.
It's not even complicated. History proved itself. It's just repeating itself.
It's repeating itself. It's a conspiracy of opportunity. And I try to explain to people that, look, you have to understand, when I hear the FBA is talking and they don't want to listen or work with anybody who actually wants to work with them, and saying that, listen, I'm not, you know me, like I'm pro the concepts that they have and all of these sort of things. But I see that rhetoric and I say, you know what? Break this down into very, very simple terms. Do not be complicated about it. Let's break this down simply. Do you really believe you're 12% of America, and of that 12%, the FBA people are probably 2%? Like the people who are really actively, I'm FBA, I'm not against. Of the 12.5% Black American population, maybe 2%, less than 2%, are this group who are very vocal on social media and so on and so forth. Do you really believe that you are going to be capable of defeating white supremacy and imperialism by yourselves?
By yourself, man. It's a collective effort.
Possible. Do you know the reason why I say this? It is not for me to demean your power. It is the fact that even the people you're fighting create alliances. Even the people who are already the dominant force, the people who have the empires, they realize the importance of alliances. Think about it. What does a white supremacist do? They ally with people in Ukraine, they ally with people in Germany, ally with people in Argentina, ally with people in France. They ally with people in the UK, everywhere. It's not just one country, it's the entire community. Go on, Jughead.
Yeah, I'm very polite English, but yeah, welcome, Virgil. Yeah, Mertz, to highlight your point, the Berlin Conference, 1884, by Otto von Bismarck, brought the British, French, Germans, to Berlin to carve us up.
Berlin Conference.
1884. So even though they're powerful individually, they recognize the group collective come together, we'd be more powerful, and they did a job on us, which we still suffer for today.
Yeah, no, 100%. Let me bring in Gus Sesi Tahotep. Okay, welcome to the show. Sorry, carry on, Jughead. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, welcome to the new edition. Yeah, I mean, like I said, your points about bringing finances together. You know, I agree that that's what my point in the UK. But my issue was this: in the UK, they all talk. You know, I was all serious, but we are serious, but we're scattered. People like you do exist, but we're scattered. You know, globally, that's a problem. We need a focal point to come together. Maybe this is the channel. There are people that are serious, but because until the internet came about, 2007, we couldn't find each other.
Well, yeah. Look, I would say this: that you know, let us see what happens. I am not all talk. I actually do things. You know, and I've proved that I do things because I've been doing things for the last 2 years on my platform, and that's the reason why people now listen to me. See, people wouldn't listen to me if I didn't do anything. If I just talked and I didn't do anything. I actually make things, I produce things. People have been able to buy my products, see my products, and when I say I'm going to make them, and they actually get my. So, for example, when I made the Back to Africa handbook, it was supposed to be a 20-page thing. It ended up at 82 pages. And when people received it and looked at it, they were like, this is actually really high quality. I could just talk about it. And then when you get it, you're like, oh, look at this bootleg product. Seriously. Nobody has gotten that thing and got back to me and said it's bootleg. Nobody. It is more valuable than the price I'm charging. Way more valuable. Because I know how long it took me to put all that information together. It took me 3 months to put
that Back to Africa handbook could turn into so many different things, so many opportunities.
No, I know that, but do you know that somebody, listen, there was messages where people were angry that I was even charging for it. There was a person who messaged me on Instagram who said I was going to get it, but then I saw it was $20. And then I said, why are you charging? And I was look at this person. I have the comments on my Instagram. And I was like, look, this is the kind of community that we got going on. $20.
Hey, man, I don't like to admit it, but when it comes to business, especially if you're an up and coming entrepreneur, and we all have this in common. No matter the tribe, whether you're FBA, African, Caribbean, they always want the hookup, man.
No, listen, that is a black thing. It's a black thing. It's a black thing. Nigerians, guys are coming and say, come on, just give me. Everybody wants a hookup. And the thing about it is that, listen, I understand wanting a hookup. That's fine. But if I don't hook you up, don't come and start insulting me with that kind of talk. Like, don't insult me. Because when I saw that message, I wanted to put it on blast, and I still might, because I'm that type of guy. I'm petty like that. I'm that type of person that I'll actually put that thing on blast and I'll make a video about this lady. Because I'm like, when you do that, you think I'm not going to make a video about you, I might make a video about you. I'm thinking about it.
That's not petty. That's quick. That's what she needs. Because if it's he or she, because what they did to you was insulting. You wasted 3 years of your time. Don't forget, time is a master. Time you can't get. One of the days gone, you can't get it back. Time and your health are two important things you have. Time and your health, because time you can't get back.
No, 100%. Let me bring in. Let me bring in Ceci because he's been waiting. Let me just bring in Ceci. So Ceci, sorry, introduce yourself. And
circle, you mean cercle? Because
okay, cerca.
Sorry.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. I just came on the live. I don't know when it started, but I just saw the title and I decided to hop in because there's something very important I would like to talk about that people. I feel.
Where are you? Okay, so first of all, just where are you from? What's your heritage? How did you find the platform? Just give us a little bit so we know who you are.
I'm from. Both parents are from Cameroon. I live in Montreal.
Okay.
And 22 years old. And yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
So yeah, I saw the title of the live, and I think that there's one thing that us Pan-Africans, for some reason, we try to avoid is the fact that I think that the problem is the issue why we feel like our people are not waking up is because that we're against competing ideologies. Like, for example, Christianity, church, the mosque, etc. I know it's very uncomfortable, but I feel like we should talk about it because I feel like those ideologies are keeping us asleep. I don't know if anybody shares that opinion with me over here.
Yeah, it's a huge distraction.
Well, look, I mean, obviously, it's a very sensitive topic. It's something that I will handle at some points in the platform because I've not really touched on religion. I have a lot of very strong feelings about religion, and I'll talk about it later down the line. I agree absolutely and completely that it is one of our big enemies. The fact that we are not in direct control of the tenets of the religions that we practice is a big problem, because for so many Africans to be Muslim or Islam, but the tenets of Islam is controlled by the Middle East is insane. Because we know, if anybody knows about Islam, that it is not a Middle Eastern religion necessarily. It's like, the fact that that they've created a situation where the Middle East and the Arabs are now the arbiters of Islam is insane. It's like, how did that happen? if you think about it theoretically, is like, well, are we saying that it originated in the Middle East? Is that the idea that Islam originated there? Of course it didn't. But I don't want to go down into that route. Christianity is worse because at least Islam on a base level, not what the Arabs have turned it into, but on a base level, it's colorless. It's not supposed to be based on any racial. That's what it's not supposed to be. But obviously, when you read particular parts of the Quran, you read part of it, and then people are like, wait a minute, is this supposed to be la 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 la, and so on and so forth? But at least it's not linked to color. So you're not praying to a white statue.
Merrick, I could disagree with you on this point because when Muslims pray, they only pray in Arabic. When they read the Quran, they read it in Arabic, So it's like to that on that point, at a certain point, it makes you Arabic because when you look at, for example,
but wait a minute. You're saying what I'm saying. My point is, what did I say originally? I said you have a situation where the Arabs have become the arbiters of Islam. How did that happen? Because if that's the case, it means that if you're a black person in Africa following the religion, you are now no longer in control of the rules of that religion because it's not even your language. That's the point I'm making. It's like these guys, you've created a situation where, like you said, the Arabic language is now synonymous with the religion, which is crazy. It's not supposed to be that way. Exactly. But you've now created a thing that in order to read it, to study it, you have to know this language that is not your own. That's part of the issue. So when you look at Lifeblood, you click the link. I put the link. If you want to join, I've clicked the link. You can join. Lifeblood. Click the link. Like I said, guys, the link is in the chat. Scroll up. You can click the link to join. Everybody is welcome, especially if you've watched the State of the African Union. This is open. I can have 20 people on this live. Everybody is welcome onto the live. Make sure you have your camera lighting on point, your sound. You can join the live. All right, look. It's a big problem because this is what's so crazy, and this is very controversial, what I'm going to say, but it's just the truth. The reason why Christianity is actually more harmful to us is because of the focus on forgiveness. The reason why Islam is not as harmful to us is because they are about revenge.
And about war. And about war.
Yeah.
The word.
That's why it's not as, it's still harmful. Don't get me wrong, it's still harmful. It is not anywhere near as harmful to us as Christianity is. Christianity, the biggest damage is that concept because they never forgive. They never forgive. The first thing they do when they are harmed is to fight and kill you. And they say that they're doing it in the name of Jesus, in the name of God. And their people said, fight for God. Fight for... That's what they will say. Every war that they fought is in the name of the Lord. There is no war that the West has fought on anybody that they didn't say God sent, them to do it.
Even before they went into Iraq. Even before they went into Iraq,
that is too recent. You're talking too recently. When they came to colonize us, they said God said that they should colonize us because we're demon worshippers.
And because we're descendants of Ham.
I have the documentation about my own people, the Edo people in Nigeria. When they came to burn us down, they've been in punitive expedition. In the newspapers in London, they said that we were worshipping witches and doing human sacrifices.
Yeah,
I have it. I didn't even just make this up. Google it. The newspaper headline.
1891.
The newspaper articles are on Google. You can see it where they said that in order to justify what they were doing. So yes, listen, all of that is true, but it comes down to exactly what I'm talking about our community. You see, the problem that we have with our community is this. I'm presenting, like Virgil was saying, an opportunity for us to separate ourselves and control ourselves with autonomy. That's what I'm offering. We do not have the will to do that. We don't have the will. Okay? Understand that concept. You see this guy, I mean, I'm not even going to comment on the comments that are coming in here. Somebody is saying that everyone knows Muhammad was white. I do not know what that means. I don't know what that. See, the thing is that I don't even know if people are trolling anymore. I'm like, is that a troll? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. So yes, my main thing is that, you know, we have to create a scenario for ourselves where we are in control. And religion is really, really important. Because if you are not in control of the thing that you worship, you're not in control of anything. And one of the biggest losses we had as Africans is losing our religion. REM. I don't know if you've heard that song, Losing Your Religion, REM. You can listen to that song.
Never heard that song, but I do.
Losing my religion. You can listen to it. We've lost our religion because religion is something. Listen, I don't believe in, like, religion is very dangerous in whatever form that it takes. It is very, very dangerous. But the fact that we don't even control this dangerous weapon is even doubly dangerous. Let me tell you something, guys. Guys, my Substack feed, can you let me know if you're listening on Substack? Because my Substack battery, let me try and plug this in, guys. Give me a second. My Substack is dying. Let me make sure it doesn't die on me. Give me a second. But Virgil, what are your thoughts on what I'm saying?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can
Yeah.
hear you.
Well, in terms of religion, for one, it's not just the practice of the religion, it not being ours, it's also the image, you know? Like, I'm one of those, like, I mean, I don't like bringing race into this, but speaking of Christianity, I mean, if whenever we think Christianity, we think of Jesus, and whenever we think of Jesus, we think of a white male figure, and that alone, by default, puts us at a disadvantage, a great disadvantage. Which
Ooh.
means, yeah, automatically, we'll forgive them. You know, I mean, it's just like one of the many results. Like it's like muscle memory. Like we don't even need to think about it. The fact
No,
that
no. Well, just listen. Do you know what the funny thing is? The forgiveness comes from fear and weakness. That's where it comes from. It's
yeah,
easier to forgive somebody than to fight them.
mhm.
And then you call your forgiveness strength, but it's not strength. You see, that is the okie doke trick that is played on you by telling you that when you forgive, they say, what is strong, the strength. A slap is stronger. A dirty slap. When you slap somebody, they will remember that more than the forgiveness.
And you know what? I mean, it's not just religion. It's like our everyday activities. For instance, with all the black and white violence that's going on in the United States, I can only speak for that. Um, People say we're good people. We're African Americans or Africans in general. We're naturally really good, sincere people because we tend to forgive our offenders over and over and over again. And we rarely ever take action. And by action, you know what I mean. So that's just like one of the many examples. I mean, outside of religions, that we tend to be a forgiving people. Now, I hope it's not true. I hope it's not a genetic trait as far as like being a forgiving group of people, if that's such a thing. But I mean, it's just food
You
for
say that
thought.
you hope it's not what?
I hope it's not a. A lot of people say, like in the U.S., that African Americans are nice people in general. We tend to be very forgiving, you know. And they're like, "Well, it's in our biology, especially when it comes to like comparing our activities to those of European descent." You know, like Europe, they have all the weapons, they cause wars, more people die from like what they do compared to ours. So in comparison, we we tend to be more peaceful, so to speak, or more forgiving. So we tend to use that as an excuse as to why we don't really like retaliating. You see what
Well,
I'm
no,
saying?
but you see, but this is what I'm saying. Let me show. I'm going to put a comment on here. Welcome Nova Phoenix. I'll get to you in a second. I want to put a comment that somebody put up. Lawanda Johnson Lowe put up a comment that is important that I want to talk about. He said that we have the will, but people are listening to the wrong people. That's a
Facts.
very important comment. It's important because who chooses the people we listen to?
Not us, right?
Exactly. One of the most detrimental things to the community is the fact that we have leaders. We shouldn't have leaders. People ask me that, Mac, why do you wear your shades? I say because your eyes are the window to the soul. And when you look into somebody's eyes, you see who they are. Who I am doesn't mean anything. It means absolutely nothing. Because I have no ego when it comes to this topic. I have no ego. I don't want to be famous. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not a leader. I tell people constantly, don't follow me. Follow the message. Subscribe to the message, but don't follow me. When people talk about, hey, I'm listening to the Mech, they say, who's the Mech? Is this guy with shades? How do you describe me? I'm asking you guys, how do you describe who I am? You don't know me. I'm nothing. I'm the guy with shades. That's a great thing because I'm nothing. I don't matter. What matters is whether you believe what I'm saying and whether you can implement these concepts into your own lives as Africans and Black people in the world to make things better for us as a community. Now, the problem that we have is that this leader thing, let me ask you this. Who are the white leaders? Do they have leaders?
You can't name them. Or a
They
better
have no
example.
leaders.
A better example, Hezbollah. When they killed the leader of Hezbollah, Nasrallah, right? What happened the next day? They got the new leader, and it's still the same mission, the same organization,
All
the same ideology.
ideological. It's ideological. That is the thing we don't understand. We don't get it. Every time that they take out one of these leaders, the entire situation collapses in the Black and African community. Look at the series I'm doing on African leaders who've been assassinated. Every time they took one of those guys out, that entire nation collapsed. That is the reason why I do this the way I do it. I'm like, I'm nothing. I am an avatar. I am an avatar. Yes, Jughead, go ahead.
So if we're doing leadership, but not leadership plural. Let me explain before the other guest comes in. I'll keep it short and sweet because the other guest hasn't spoken yet. Look, if we look at the successful nations around the world that have been, whether it's Gaddafi, Libya, that's Leon Q, Singapore, Ben Bella of Algeria. It's leadership. You can't progress without leadership because leadership gives discipline and direction.
Sorry, what countries did you name? What countries did you name?
Ben Bella of Algeria, Gaddafi of Libya.
Where is Gaddafi now?
Oh, Gaddafi is killed.
Okay.
But you know what? He made a mistake. He got rid of his chemical weapons and he trusted the West. Frank warned him, don't trust the West. He got himself from Russia.
I'll tell you something that you should take to the bank. Take what I'm going to say to the bank. I don't know if you have an account there, a special account called the Al-Kabulan account. You can put this into that account, what I'm going to say right now. Any country that is not part of this whole imperial world domination nonsense that has been going on for our entire existence, that is prosperous, Japan, Singapore, any country you name, it is because they are allowed to be. You understand what I'm saying? They are allowed to be because they are not upsetting the status quo. Africa cannot be allowed to be self-sufficient because we have all the resources and we are Black African people.
Yeah, but
we can't be allowed to be. That's history.
But we should. Bob says that I'm Black. Yeah, what he says is true to a extent. But Bob says that we should not go over that narrative. We should have the backbone, the courage. Look at Vietnam, for instance. Look at Africa's continents. Humongous continents. It's not large. It's humongous.
Okay, go on. Yeah.
Right. Africa's size. It's not large. It's humongous. Okay. Look at little Vietnam. Took on the Japanese for 35 years, beat them. France 2 decades. America a decade. And 65 years of fighting. Teeny Vietnam. Korea went to America. 50. I will not finish yet. 53. Teeny Korea. And put them to a standstill. Now, what I'm saying is that look at little Cuba with no resources. They feed their people. Okay, they're from Russia, from USSR, but Cuba is a little teeny island with no resources. Africa's using resources. We shouldn't not making excuses. I'm not saying you are, but we should actually work below our weight.
I get that. Let me bring Nova Phoenix and I'll reply to you. Nova Phoenix, welcome. Please introduce yourself, where you're from, how you found the platform, and then give us your thoughts. Can't hear you. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted. Let me unmute. I can unmute you, I think. Hold on. I can unmute you. Okay, go ahead
I got
now.
it. Here you go. Here you go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, hear me now?
Yes.
I'm good? Hey, all right. What's going on, everybody? My name is Nova Phoenix. I'm from New York, straight born and raised, and I'm here. I found Merc as far as, surfing YouTube and seeing what's out there, and I found Merc right out of Nigeria doing this thing, and I love what he's talking about as far as the history, African history, and understanding African history as world history, and it's important that we understand where we come from because we have to understand where we are today, and it gives us a clear picture of where we're going now. I, at the end of the day, am a humanist. I respect all lives. I have no problem with that, regardless of where you come from, race, creed, color. I have no issues. But what is not going to happen is the discussion of my humanity. We're not going.
Oh. All right, come back. You got disconnected. Okay. I think that was going to be good. That was probably going to be good. It got disconnected. Come back if you can, and we'll bring you back into the show. All right. So let me respond to Jughead.
But before you respond to him,
Okay.
I would like to add to what he's just said that Angola did it. Angola really beat the Portuguese. Now the Angolans are running Portugal in a certain way. You know that, like, the first telecom company in Portugal, right, is owned partly by the Angolans. The old football club of Cristiano Ronaldo, Sporting Lisbon, is owned partially by some Angolans, etc., etc. So there is some cases where Africans did it. So the rest of the continent should have followed that model. Like,
No. Well, okay. So that
No,
it's
we
okay.
lost.
Yeah, it's okay to say that, but let me counter what you're saying with this simple fact. Do you know the level of problems Angola is having economically today? You think that Angola is not enjoying life, by the way. Angola is struggling, as a lot of African nations. They paid very dearly for standing up to Portugal, very dearly for doing that. And they were punished for it. And they beat Portugal with the help of the Soviets, if you know about the Russian amount of support that Russia and Cuba, yes, 100%, yes. Those two nations really helped Angola fight the Portuguese as well. And if you're reading my series on my newsletter, you'll know that I've been talking about Angola as well, and a lot of the things that the Russians have been doing, in terms of that history. Now, to respond to what you said, let me respond to what you said. I'll bring somebody else in here as well. That history. Now, to respond to what you said, could you mute me, Emeka, please? I'll bring somebody else in.
Hey, my name is.
So take care of. Okay, look, hold on 1 second. Please do not play me through your headset or mute my audio from your speaker so I'm not echoing. Okay. When you come on, anybody who comes on. All right. Listen. When you talk about leaders in Africa and you talk about leadership, my point to Jughead is this. What type of leadership do we require in Africa? What I'm saying is that the brand of leadership we require needs to be ideological. It can no longer be figureheads. That is the reason why I like Captain Traore so much, because I think he's read his history books. So when you listen to his speeches, he knows what's happened to the people that came before him. So a lot of what Captain Traore is doing is people can't see it on the surface, but look at the impact he's having because he's doing it with ideology. He's doing things that make other African youth look and say, we want some of that. We want our own Captain Traore. We want our own version of that. Because he's not just like, look at me, look at me, look at me. No. It's like, I am doing things based on the principles of what Africa needs to do. So that other Africa, isn't it strange that out of all the 3 Sahel Alliance countries, he's the one doing all of this stuff? Because, and this is no slight against the other 2, they are not like him. They are not like it. What we're witnessing, and I want everybody to really understand what we're witnessing here. That guy is one of the great ones. You know the history that you read about these people who passed away. all these kings and these emperors of Africa, all these people who did all those guys from Nkrumah, Gaddafi, Sankara. You can even go to Haile Selassie if you like him. Some people don't like Haile Selassie. You can go to Obafemi. You can go to. I'm even going to Obafemi. You know, that level. King Jaja of Opobo. You can go to all of these people. Koko of Nembe Brass.
Harka.
This guy is one of those guys. We are living in the lifetime of one of those types of people. People do not understand how big a deal that is to be alive as an African when one of those guys, we're seeing the rise of our version of one of those people. 100% God sent. God sent this person. Like, he's not a regular sort of guy. Like, you look at him and you're like, you know, this guy, this is one of those guys. If I could meet him, it would be one of the greatest things of my life. Like, to meet him in person, because I'm like, no, this guy, he really understands what we need today. Not the old school, but what we need today. Yes, go on.
So man, interject slightly. That's my point. I said leadership plural, not leader. Leadership plural. That's my point. So there's 3 of them, and there'll be more.
Yeah, no, I know, but what I'm saying is just this style. Anyway, let me bring Emeka in. Okay, I'm going to bring you in now. Please just introduce yourself, how you came to the platform, and give us your thoughts.
Hello, my name is Emeka. I'm from America and Nigeria. I'm Nigerian American, and I was born here though in America. And I'm interested in African history, culture, fashion, dance, economics, environmental economics. Like, I'm an economist as well, and I do fashion. I do African fashion, women's wear and menswear. So my goal is to create jobs in Nigeria and the diaspora in the fashion industry, and also talk about sustainable economy, sustainable development. How can African development without destroying the environment too much, and sustainable world, because the world needs more sustainability. And I also want to do animation as well. I want to do like animation based on African history, like before slavery and before colonialism. Talk about like our positive history that we have, the Mali Empire.
By the way, you're having some mic issues. Just letting you know, your mic is crackling quite a lot. So you might need to, maybe if you can switch out your mic. But then just please tell us, so what are your thoughts on the conversation? What did you want to contribute to the conversation? Let us know.
Oh yes, I love what y'all doing. You're all conscious about our issues. Talk about how like most Africans don't want to be free, as you were saying. Like, we're comfortable as being in our position, but we have to change that, change our mindset to control our narrative, control our history, control our culture, and teach the youth our true history to inspire them to do its engineering, science, mathematics. Because I teach math as well, math teacher at a high school. So it's all about promoting the youth, telling them that we have a great history as well.
I'm really struggling, so I'm going to have to thank you for joining. Your audio is really kind of tough to hear, but thank you so much for coming on. Look, yes, go on.
Well, I'd like to comment on what the guy just before me just said, Emeka. Well, he brought up the topic of African history, culture, etc. I think that is one of the other things that we really need to take seriously, because most Africans don't know this, but ancient Egypt, right? You know that civilization was really a Black African civilization. It's not a conspiracy, right?
Wait a minute, who said it's a conspiracy? What are you talking about?
No, I'm just saying that because some people think that.
No, let me say something. Let me just say something. Let me say something.
Good.
You're new. Okay. When did you join my platform?
Like how long ago? Maybe like a couple months ago. I'm not here for. I'm
all
not
right.
here.
You're new. Okay, so
you would have followed me.
So
yeah,
look,
we are well past that. Like
that is like in the rave. That's like 2 years ago. That's 2022, 2023 May conversation. We're past that one. That's not even. We're not even. I don't even. Anyway,
If,
look.
if
Basically,
people are still arguing against that, man, they probably dropped you on the ground as a baby. Like
yeah. I
it's
mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
that
that is
bad.
not. Yeah, no. So we're not even. We don't even have that conversation. This is
But
the thing.
but what I wanted to say was my point that I was trying to bring is that um by knowing like but if our history gets vulgarized, I don't know how to say it in English properly. If our history gets put like vulgarized, like made like like Roman history, right? Everybody knows about Roman history, right? If our real history is put uh, in front of our children, right, as soon as they're young, right, what
Mhm.
what it will
Yes,
do is
John,
that
that is right now.
psychologically they will see themselves as a race of people who have always been at the top and who are just in a
Well, okay.
down
Look,
phase
this is the
and
thing.
trying
It
to
is.
get back up.
This is what we're doing now. I'm going to tell you what we're doing that frustrates me. You see, this live is the State of the African Union Q&A live, right? If you watch the State of the African Union, how many of you guys have seen it? Have you seen it? Virgil, have
Well,
you seen it? Virgil has seen it. So the other two have not seen it. If you'd watch that, what I suggest is that you mute now and you go and watch it and you come back. It's only 8 minutes, 10 minutes. Watch it on my YouTube and then come back. So mute your mutes now and go and watch it and come back. And it will give you a little bit of illumination of exactly why I'm even doing this live. What we're doing now is not what I want to do. We're talking about the problems. I'm a solution-based person. All I care about is what we're going to do to solve the problems. Sitting and talking about, well, they did this and this is what we don't have. We know all of this. We know we don't have control of our history. We know we don't have control of our education. We know we don't have control of our narrative. We know we don't have funding models to fund what we do. We know we're getting censored. We know we have no means of getting proper news. We know all of this. What are we doing? So my whole point of the State of the African Union address is that, listen, I want 300 people. If I cannot find 300 people, I do not know what we're talking about. If you do not want to be part of the 300, I don't have time to have the conversation with the people right now. That is not to say, listen, my goal is to provide, I want to provide free content to people. Do you know how many millions of Africans cannot afford to survive? I'm not expecting them to be able to pay for content. Of course not. But in order to provide free information and free education, which is my goal, education free, that is my goal. That's one of the projects. So Virgil, you know, when we're going to do the votes, one of the projects is going to be is to provide free education that is going to be freely available to everybody in the continent. So that there's no more this thing about not having access to school anymore. We'll kill that. That's going to be over with on my watch. Any kid, whether you're in the slums of Ghana or Uganda or Nigeria or South Africa, I am going to create a system where you're going to have top quality education for free. I will do that in due time. That is one of the projects the 300 is going to do. You see what I'm saying? I'm doing real things. Like all this talk, I'm like, I'm do you know how old I am? I don't want to put my age out there. I'm old. I don't want to leave the planet before I do something that actually means something, because I don't believe in legacies. I don't believe in legacies. I believe in what I can see when I'm alive. I don't know what people are going to say about me when I'm gone. I want to do things when I'm alive. So all this about legacy. That's why you people are greedy, messed up humans, because you're thinking you're hoarding wealth. So you can, my legacy. Who cares about your legacy? Like Mike Tyson said, you're not going to be here.
no, I remember that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw
he's
that.
right.
I want
He's
to
right.
take Russell Mike. You lost 400 million.
Nobody's like, people talking about I don't care about my legacy.
He
Who cares about
destroyed
legacy?
it. Oh,
Like I'm just like, listen, man. All I care about is like, look, what am I doing now when I'm alive? Like, what am I going to see? And I do not want to leave the planet with Africa being sold off again and getting into it. That's not part of what I want to do. So my thing is that as it stands today, which is why I made that address, is that going forward after this day, today is the 31st. What is the first? After this day, G, thank you for joining the YouTube membership. Thank you, G. After this day, I'm not having those conversations anymore. The people I talk to are going to be the people in the 300. Everybody else will just see when something comes out. You see what I'm saying? Whenever the project is ready, you will see it because you will get it for free. The 300 are going to be able to provide the stuff for you to get for free. But the 300 are the people that I'll be having the proper conversations with, like this, of like, what are we doing for this quarter? We're not going to have conversations about, oh, this is what man, this is so messed up. Like, why do they keep doing this to us? I'm not having those conversations. I'm not that type of guy. Listen, this is the reason why I can't even do well on TikTok. I think TikTok algorithm said, oh, damn, he's not that type of guy. Because Negroes are supposed to be particular types of Negroes. I'm not that type of guy. I'm a very mild-mannered person. If you meet me in real life, you will not even know it's me. You won't know it's me. But beneath the surface, we're talking real things. So I'm looking at people. That is why, listen, it's not to go at you or anything. This is more about, I want you to understand we are at a point now that there's no time to talk. What would Captain Traore be if he were just talking?
Not far, not far.
He just does things. And he looks to his side and says, who's with me? That's how we started the Sahel Alliance. It's like, who's with me here? This is what I'm doing. Who's with me? That is it. So my thing now is that, listen, who is with me? If you're with me, roll. If you're not with me, all right, that's fine. That is the concept of what I'm doing. I'm like, if I can get 300 people who are going to put in $100 once every quarter, that is it.
Every quarter, what is that? Because I don't
3
speak
months. Once every 3 months.
once every 2 months, $100.
Yes, that's it. We'll have our own community. I'm going to set up our own web presence, our own chat channel on WhatsApp. We'll have our own chat group. Everything will be enclosed. Nobody will know it. It's not public. We'll have our own list. We will do our own thing, and that's it.
Yeah.
We're not having a conversation. I'm not coming to put videos hoping that TikTok will make it go viral so that people will buy my products or donate. I'm not doing that anymore. Everybody on Instagram or your TikTok will just see when the thing is ready. When it's ready, you'll see it. And it's like, okay, here's what we've made now. What are we doing next? We do it. You'll just see it when it's ready. Because you see what we're doing here, where we're talking about, this is so bad and the history of this thing. You know what I'm going to do, guys? Please, Jughead and Cyril, I'm taking you down. Go and watch the video and then come back. All right? All right. Virgil, am I wrong? Am I being harsh?
Well, if you're being harsh, it's harsh for a good reason. It's reasonable in my book, just from the way I'm seeing it.
I mean,
It's
because
kind of like.
Go on.
Go ahead. And what were you saying?
No. I was saying that I feel that in order to have a proper conversation, people need the context of that video. I think that they need to have seen it so that they can understand the context of where we are, to have this conversation properly. Because where we are, this is not 2024. The point is that in 2025, now we've got to take things up to another level now. 2024 was a great year for us. We learned a lot. We're now at a point that this is real now. If Captain Traore is going to stick his neck out and these people are going to do what they're doing, the least we can do is stick our necks out.
Exactly. We need to ride that coattail. We need to ride that wave. Just take advantage of it. And if there's an opportunity, I mean, the opportunity is now. 2025 would be
this is it.
Would be an action-oriented year, or at least the very beginning of being action-oriented.
No, thank you. You nailed it. It's the beginning. It's a long haul. It's going to take a lot of time. It's the beginning. But this has to be the year that we start. Do you know let me tell you this, Virgil, think about this. Do you know the psychological impact if we're successful doing this? Do you know what we could do for the people's psychology if we are able to do this and we start producing material and they say, how did this get made? And I say, 300 Black and African people came together and we fund this ourselves. Do you know what that would do for people? Do you know what that would do for people's minds? We didn't ask anybody for anything. We did not ask for any donations. We didn't ask for any sponsorships. We didn't try and go viral to get ad revenue. We didn't do any of that. We got 300 people who saw somebody who has been working for 2 years to provide material. And they said, okay, we're going to circle the wagons and we're going to provide the support to create the content we decide we want.
Mm-hmm.
Other people will now see that and say, oh, this is possible.
It'll show them that we have our own little internal network, our own, well, not little, but our own support mechanism, as opposed to relying on outside platforms like regular platforms like YouTube, et cetera, and everything. So we can actually do things ourselves. We don't need to depend on anybody else. So that's what it'll teach them. That's what it'll teach them.
Exactly. And I think that is what I really want to show, which is why I said it's a social experiment, because people were like, oh, trust. I'm like, listen, this is completely transparent. So I'm not doing something, you know, where you have a Patreon that we have now and my membership channels where it's like, okay, you donate every month to just support me. And then I'm just doing what I'm doing, but you're supporting me. This is very focused. We vote on the project. We have a list of projects we vote on. This is what is getting made this quarter. It's not like we're just giving stuff to be, you know, to a creator. No, creator, this is what we want. This is what you're going to make this quarter. And this is what we're funding.
Well, I have a question in terms of the organizational structure and everything, if I may. With the funding, I mean, do you plan on delegating? Because I know you're a hard worker and you could do most of it all by yourself. So like, are you going to delegate like certain projects to each people? Like, how are you going to do it? How do you plan on doing it?
No, I mean, I will run. So for example, I will do the list and then I will obviously be responsible for creating the project. And I think it's the accountability that's important. Because if people are going to invest, you need somebody to be accountable so that if it fails, you know who to go after. I need to take that responsibility. For me to delegate, it's like, then I have to take responsibility for another person who may or may not do what they're supposed to do. If it's me.
And I'm not talking about us, the investors, people putting money in. I'm talking about like people who you probably know and probably worked in the past with and you know are good.
Yes, no, 100%. No, 100% yes. No, I already have a network of professionals who do. No, I have people who are ready, who I would have to pay. You know, obviously I have to pay them, but that's part of why I need to raise them to have the funding. Is that, you know, yes, I have people in different fields if I need to hire to get things made. So obviously I can't do everything myself. Obviously not. But the main thing is that I have to be responsible for the delivery of the project. That's what I really want people to have, is that, no, you're responsible. So you're the one who has to deliver at the end of the quarter, the thing that we've put in for this quarter. That's the idea. So essentially what we're creating is that it's a company almost, you know, and you're putting in the stuff and everybody who's doing this is creating a system whereby we can dictate the material that is getting made. So for example, we know that the biggest issue we have is let me even blow your mind. Do you think down the line we will not make our own social media platform? That's on the list.
It's definitely feasible.
That's on the list, but not immediately. It's like you need to get to a point where you've made enough things where that becomes a feasible project to do because you're raising enough money, you're getting enough revenue. But in the beginning, what we're doing is that you start off with the True History of Africa series, you start off with the graphic novels, you start off with the education, you start off with things like this that are challenging but doable. It's challenging, but we know we can achieve these things. Once you do a few of those and these things are successful, that is when you can now start sort of leveling up and doing, you know, one day we'll make a movie, you know, we'll do, like I told people, like there are certain topics and certain subjects that the mainstream would never make a movie about, but would be amazing for us to see. Berlin Conference, nobody would ever make a movie about that. Do you know how controversial the Berlin Conference movie would be?
Very.
Nobody's ever going to make that. So I understand why, you know, there are certain things and certain topics and certain subjects that people would not, that the mainstream wouldn't produce, but for our community, it would be very important for those things to exist. And I think that that is the reason why I'm saying getting ourselves a system whereby we know that we constantly have revenue coming in would allow us to level up to the point that we can actually make those sort of decisions to create projects that are of that level. You know, that being said, for people who are asking, the question now, will we get 300 people? How many people on this live want to join the 300? That's the question.
Well, I for one, right?
No, I know you. I know that. But the question is, how many people? I know you will join. I know that the people in my Patreon will join. I know I already have people who are committed to that. I know. But the question is that we will we, you know, like the person who was on yesterday, I keep forgetting her name. She believed that I would get 300 people today, immediately. And I told her I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't think that we are yet there as a group to think in these ways, but I believe we will get there. I just don't think it's going to happen that quickly. I
Yeah,
think
it's
it
not
could.
going to happen overnight. But like, with that being said, well, what's your time frame? You think? How long do you think it'll take to reach the 300 quota
I believe
from today?
from today. Okay. If we do this within 2 months, I would be impressed. Which is ridiculous. 8, that is absolutely terrible going. Like, that is very slow. It should be a lot more than that. But if we get there within 2 months, I'll be like, okay.
Yeah, by the end of the first quarter this year.
Exactly. I feel it should happen within hours. That's how fast it should happen. But I don't believe it will. You know. The link, by the way, guys, for the sign up application for the 300 is in this video on the live. If you're on YouTube, it's also in the newsletter post that I sent out in my newsletter. The link is also there, so you can apply to join there and just put how much you would be able to do quarterly. You can put that in there.
Oh, I thought it was a survey. I filled it out, but I thought it was just like a survey. You were just like trying to figure out. Okay, gotcha. All right. It's an
Yeah,
application.
it's an app. It is. I mean, it's like, you know, yes, it's a survey. Like, you know, let's see how many people join. Why did you fill it out already?
Oh yeah, I did earlier today.
Okay, but I never got it in. Why didn't I get it? Oh, okay, I know why. Yeah, I know why. Okay, because you're already subscribed. Okay,
Yeah,
I will check. I'll check. I haven't checked it to see how many people joined. Maybe you're already subscribed. Yes.
Okay.
So if we get the 300 people, do you know how, Virgil?
Yes,
Think about it. Do you know how amazing that first meeting would be?
it would be 300
Can you
people with
imagine the first
300.
300 meeting?
Bro, it'll be legendary, historical,
It'll
man.
be
Like
it'll be
history.
legendary. That'll be
Yes,
legendary.
it'll be
Because
documented.
you know why it'd be so amazing?
You
300
should bring.
people who go
You
on,
should
go on.
bring a scribe. You should bring a scribe with you just to document every little thing
No,
during
it'll
that
be
first.
amazing. It'll
Yes,
be amazing because you'll be on there knowing that this is
yes,
300 people who are willing and able, and the conversation you're having is an actionable conversation. Like, you're having
exactly.
a conversation whereby at the end of this meeting, whatever we decide is going to happen. That is a level of power that we don't have. So that's the reason why it's going to be such an amazing thing to do, because that meeting, the first one we have, you're going to have everybody there. We'll have all the screens and all the windows, everybody on the live, because these are going to be, I want to do them privately. They're not going to be published in public. We do all of this. And you know that this meeting of people, when we vote, which is why I think it's going to be so exciting for me, the votes will be exciting when we even do the voting, because you know that everything in the list is worth making. So I won't even know what is going to win the vote, but we know that everything that is on the list is worth making.
Oh yes.
That for me is what excites me, because even what the guy that came on was talking about. We will make cartoons. We will make comic books. We will make clothing. We will make. We will even do the things like I talked about doing 2 years ago. I don't know whether you were on the platform. Remember when I talked 2 years ago? I think it was 2023 that I said I wanted to do a organized trip for people in America to go to Africa.
You know, I wasn't there at the time. No,
Maybe
I
you
only
weren't there.
joined slightly less than a year ago.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I thought maybe that was somebody else. There was somebody that was on my Discord, and I thought it was you.
Well, I was in your Discord, but I don't remember seeing anything about that.
Okay, but yes, that is something that I really want to do as well, that we'll be able to fund. It's like, look, to be able to create a situation where we'll say, okay, look, everybody, we meet up in a place and I actually can get them to travel to Africa together and actually take them to Ghana or to Nigeria or to a particular country and there's a lot of people in America, Black people in America, that have never done that trip. And they're very nervous about the trip. They're very intimidated by it, which is the reason why I even created the Back to Africa handbook, is to demystify some of the complexity of even planning to go, but to actually create a system whereby, like, listen, we're going to get a plane, get tickets, and we're going to take 10 people from America to this place and organize the experience for them. These are the sorts of projects that I want to do, because I think right now, because of the point in history that we're in, it's so important that we have the ability to do that. So listen, the 300, as you said, I believe it will take 2 months, man. That's what I think. I don't think that people are going to join. Our mindset is not a majority.
Yes.
Because I'm putting in, like I've told people, the 300, I'm putting in $1,000 every quarter and my labor. So I'm going to invest 1,000, including being responsible for making the project and my labor and making the project. I've pledged that. I'm putting in $1,000 minimum, if not more. And I budgeted it in my mind. I'm like, yeah, man, if I didn't spend 1,000 on this, what would I'll be doing on a vacation? I can afford it. So I'm like, I can afford it, so I'll do it. But I know that there's a lot of people that can't. And also, in addition to that, I know that there are people who can't afford anything, and that's fine. So this is why I'm saying that this concept is not for everybody, because there's a lot of people who simply can't afford to do anything, but they want to support, and that's completely fine. What I don't want, though, is talkers. That's what I want to stop, is talkers. I have had, over the last 2 years of doing this, people who come onto my platform and they will talk and talk and talk. And what they'll be talking about is telling me what I should do. And you've got to do this, and then you do this, and then if you do that, and I say that, wait a minute, what are you doing?
Exactly.
You're telling me what I should be. What are you doing?
When you call them out, I usually disappear.
I always call them. Listen, I always say, when are you joining my membership? When are you done? I always say that. Whenever they talk, I just say, okay, look, so when are you gonna? I'm like, see, this is what I'm saying. I'm like, listen, if you don't want to do anything, watch, support by watching, that is fine. But when you now come and start telling me that what I should do, that is when I draw the line. I'm like, guys, come on, guys. Like, seriously, that should not even come into the equation at this point that we're in now, because we're in a very serious moment. And because we're in a serious moment, we only have time for people who are actively going to do something. Like, if you're going to do something and actually, then we can have a conversation. Let's actually start building, and then we'll actually be able to get somewhere. Because as you said, look, if this happens as quickly as it should happen, it means that we will actually maybe be able to do something in Q1. So let's say within the next 48 hours, 300 people join. It's only February 2nd, February 1st, February 2nd. Potentially, we can have a first meeting next week and potentially do something in the first quarter. I just don't believe that we're going to pull it together that quickly. That's my thing. I'm like, yeah, I don't believe that we're going to pull it together that fast. But if we do, oh man, I'm like, yeah, like, we could actually sort of pull something and do something in the first quarter. But it's just going to depend, like the lady who came on yesterday, she said that, oh, we'll get 1,000. I don't know.
Was it the lady from Vegas or something like that? Something about tourism, or was it someone else?
That was somebody else. The tourism
Okay,
lady was somebody else. There was somebody who came on the live,
okay,
and
okay. I remember. I remember. Yeah,
yeah, and she was very optimistic.
yeah. Okay.
And she was saying that no, you'll definitely. And I was like, nah. I mean, I don't think, you know, if people are complaining about $20 ebook, what are the odds? You know, I mean, like if
Yeah.
that's people. Listen, I had an email from somebody who, do you know what he was annoyed about? He emailed me. He emailed me that I'm very annoyed. Thank you so much for this amazing article on the assassination of African presidents. Fantastic article. And I'm going to consider staying subscribed to you, even though it's annoying me that the chat is behind a paywall.
What?
This guy got a free article from me, and he was annoyed that the chat is for the paying members of my newsletter. And he said that he's considering staying subscribed, even though he's annoyed that the chat is behind a paywall. These are the kind of people I have following me.
Well, nothing in life is free, especially something of value, in my opinion.
But what
And
is crazy is that he's already taken the thing of value. He's read the article. He's gotten
yeah.
the value. But he's like, because the chat feature, which I've said that, you know, if you want to leave comments, that's for the paid subscribers, to give them something as a thank you for paying and for subscribing and supporting the newsletter. He has a problem with that, and he's not paying. He's not a subscriber. That's what we're dealing with.
See that's the problem we have, man.
That's what I'm saying, man. So for me, it's like when you have that sort of mentality, the way that I look at it, who's this? The way that I look at this is that we definitely have to be pragmatic about our expectations of what will and will not happen.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I have other things that I do. That I don't want to have to be doing without focusing on this, but I have to because I've got to make money, you know, to survive. And I really wanted this to be more of a focus for me because of the amount of things that really need to happen. Like, look at what's happening in Congo and Rwanda, for example. Thank you, Jughead. Thank you very much for the super chats. Thank you for the super chat, Jughead. The link is back up, guys. Guys, this is the last 10, 15 minutes here. We're going to be shutting down in 10, 15 minutes, okay? So this is your last opportunity to come onto the live. Please come on if you've seen the State of the African Union address. If you haven't seen it, then I don't think there's any point in coming on. If you've seen it, click the link. I see Emeka is waiting. Emeka, have you seen the State of the African Union address? Have you watched it? If you haven't watched it, please watch it first before coming on the live. Make sure you've watched it before coming on the live. That is the link. Okay. Welcome back, Jughead. Welcome back. Have you guys now watched the State of the African Union address? Emeka, have you watched it? Yes. No. Give me a thumbs up if you've seen it.
I have watched it. Is it me? Is it me making? Okay, it's cool.
Yeah. Emeka, have you watched it? Give me a thumbs up if you've seen it. Okay, he has not seen it. All right. Welcome back. Last 15 minutes, so please give me your thoughts before we shut down the live.
Well, I have a few questions about the project. What I
Okay.
want to know is, are we going to vote in as a group which project we're gonna do, or you're just gonna decide which project is gonna be done?
No, we vote as a group. So there will be a list of projects, and you can also nominate projects if you're in the group. So I'll give you the list. You can also nominate and say, oh, can you add this to the list? Then we vote as a group on which thing we will do for that quarter. The idea is about accountability. So nothing is dictated by me. The group will vote.
Sorry, I can't hear you because somebody.
Oh.
I think it's a Mecca.
Is it? What's happening?
It was a Mecca.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Can you
now
hear
I
me
can
now?
properly. Yes.
All right. I said that we vote as a group. I will put the list. I'll give you the list of projects. You can also nominate projects. So if there's a project you want to add to the list, you can nominate it if you're in the group. And we vote as a group on what project is going to be done for that quarter. And then you put in your funds for that quarter. And that's how it's done 4 times a year, every quarter. Then my responsibility is to deliver that. And then I deliver it on the day before the next vote. So the general public do not see any of this. They're not in any of the meetings. They're not in any of the votes. They're not in any of these conversations. We do this all privately. The only thing that the general public will see is when we're releasing the projects we're making. And then everybody who's in the 300 is credited with being part of the 300 because the 300 is what is financing these projects. So when we talk about legacy, I don't really care about legacy, but the thing that the 300 group will get is that your name will be attached to, you're part of this group that funds these projects through this system. My goal is that it is to show the wider diaspora and African community what we can do when we stick together and we support the creators and artists that we want to make the things that we need for the community. And we do that completely autonomously. We're not using Patreon. We're not using Kickstarter. We're not using GoFundMe. We're not using YouTube. We're just using this to get people, but we create our own ecosystem.
Now, which platform will this ecosystem be? Like, for instance, we're on YouTube, I'm in your Patreon, et cetera. So which platform are we going to transition over to?
So what I'm building is, so Substack is good because it's email based.
Mhm.
But I have a thing called ConvertKit. It's a platform called ConvertKit, which is now called Kit. It's a different thing. So it's an email-based platform that is for digital and email marketing and things like that. I'm going to create a segment, a separate group from there that the emails will only go to the people who are in the 300 group. We will then have a WhatsApp group that will be private for WhatsApp, where we will be able to communicate with each other directly via WhatsApp, a WhatsApp group, because everybody's got WhatsApp, right? So we cannot be censored through that, so we can communicate there. So through those two means, we will then be able to organize when we will have the meetings, and the meetings that we will have with the videos, we can easily do that on YouTube or on Zoom or wherever we need to when we bring these groups together. I even have a thing called Riverside. We can do it through Riverside and do it through that way. Yeah, I understand. I can't, unfortunately, the cleaning had to happen now, so I wasn't able to delay it, guys. Sorry about that. Thank you for the super chat, Carl Sinclair. African men, let's build. No more talking. The feds are watching. I agree, Sinclair, but what we have no choice. We've got to have the conversation.
I got another question.
Yes, go ahead.
Is it going to be like specifically, because what I really want to contribute to is specifically to those 3 countries, because as the ECOWAS and the West is cutting them off of financial circuits and stuff.
Who is cutting who off?
The West, like they're trying to strangle those 3 countries, because I read the news in French, right? And I know some people who live in those countries, right? Because there's a big community of those 3 countries over here, right, where I live. So, and from what I could see, is that the fact that they're spending all this money into the war effort makes it so that the other factors, such as like healthcare, etc., aren't really taken care of. So I was thinking like.
Okay, go on. You were thinking what?
I feel like our project should be in one of those 3 countries, because I'm really interested if it's going to be done in one of those 3 countries.
When you say, but you see, again, it is a question of what the project is. So, for example, if you're saying that we've got the Sahel Alliance and we want to support Burkina Faso or Mali or Niger and what they're doing, the question is that what is the project that we're going to do to try and support them? Like, what is it that I'm going to make or I can create that would be supportive of them? That is what would need to be decided on, because it's got to be something that can be executed. What we do not want to do is create something that is so lofty, even with whatever is raised, it is impossible to create. It has to be something that is tangible, and it has to be something that people can access easily. You see what I'm saying? That is what is most important about this, is that it needs to be accessible to people. It cannot be something that is intangible, or how do I put it? You know how people do these donations, like Haiti Fund, to do the Haiti. Where is the money going? Haiti is still in the situation. It's in the same situation it was in 30 years ago.
Blame Hillary and Obama.
Yeah,
Hillary.
So it's like, so that's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't want to do things like that. It's got to be something tangible.
Yeah, you don't want to be another Dr. Umar Johnson.
No, thank you. No, let me not slander him. No, we don't want to slander Dr. Umar, but 100%, I get what you're saying. Listen, I am not doing that. That's the reason why I'm saying accountability, and it's every quarter. Every quarter, you have to be able to come back to me and say, where is the thing that we made? That's why I'm doing it this way. It's not something that, hey, let's build a school or let's do that, and then 5 years later, 10 years later, there's nothing. No, exactly. It has to be something that is tangible. It is something that we can do, and we are accountable for it.
Exactly.
You know? So that is really what I think that the project needs to be looking at. So even if we want to support Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, it's like, okay, maybe, for example, that, oh, you know what would really support these guys? Maybe we'll do something about Sankara. Let us do something about their history and how they came about, and create something that everybody can have, whereby they really understand the history of the Sahel. Something like that. Where is what the hell? Emeka, your sound is, I do not know what is going on with your sound, but that, I don't know what that is. Hold on. Damn. All right. Is creating some, and listen, I'm not saying that is definitely what the project needs to be, but we have to think of it in that way, of what can we make that we can execute in 3 months that can be of use to him, that can be of use to them, to that community. What is it that so for example, it's like, oh, you know what? The problem is that nobody knows what is going on in Burkina Faso. Nobody knows what's happening in the Sahel. Maybe can we build something where we can pay correspondents on the ground in Burkina Faso, where we can put some money together and actually pay some content creators, like set them up so we can fund a content creator that is in Burkina Faso, in Mali, in Niger, give them some money, that here's some money, set up your account, set up your YouTube channel, set up your thing. We're going to do a little competition this quarter where we want the best Burkina Faso content creator, and we're going to give you 10 grand.
Well, about that, Burkina Faso they actually got a official channel where they're displaying everything that they're doing. But the problem is that they're in French. So yeah, we just need an English version of that.
No, but again, which is that's the problem. So we will talk as a group and say the issue is the language barrier.
Or Bambara. It's either French or Bambara. For Mali, for example, it's Bambara.
Exactly. So we then would have to figure out that, guys, what we need to do is to create a system whereby we can get an English community, like somebody who is English speaking or somebody who's French, create a way that we can actually get this translated or get this information out to the wider population so that people can understand it in English. What I'm saying is that these are the kinds of conversations that we would have, and then we would put something like that on the list and we would vote, and then whatever wins for that quarter is what we would then do. Jughead, what are your thoughts?
Thank you. So yeah, I was trying to look for that clip you mentioned, 8-minute clip on the Afro Union. I couldn't find it. Maybe it's me being dense, but I couldn't find a clip. So it was I saw different profiles, but I couldn't find a clip you mentioned specifically. It was 8 minutes long, but I'll look again later on. But
so wait a minute. You haven't seen the African Union video, the address that I made on YouTube?
Oh, well, not one. No, no, I haven't. I found one that you made specifically.
I made a video on YouTube that has just been released. It's the latest video on my YouTube channel.
By Merck, by yourself, okay.
Yes, so you haven't seen that. That was what I told you to watch.
Yeah.
Yes, you've got to watch that. Otherwise, this conversation doesn't make a lot of sense.
Okay.
Yes, that was what I meant. But we're going to be ending the live soon anyway, so I'm not going to be on here much longer. Okay, Emeka, you said that sorry, go on.
Thank you for this interaction. Has been fantastic. I'll call again. I'll message them, join if you're 100. I will join. Let me look at the clip that you made, When's your next live stream, Mac?
I don't know. I mean, look, my live streams, I try to be semi-regular with them. I used to do them every Sunday. It's difficult now because, like I said, I've got to earn a living. I've got to make money. So, it's difficult now. So I don't know, but I will always announce it. So as long as you're following, if you're on my newsletter, you will always get stuff. But I don't know is the answer to that. I don't know when my next live will be, but it depends. I just pop up. So it could be tomorrow. It could be next week.
I'm subscribed. I'll check out the newsletter as well, so I can back 300. Get more information, and I'll join. Look, brothers, Virgil, and the other two. I'll put a name. And the other two brothers, Emeka and what's his name?
Emeka
and Tanik. It's so cool. That's me working, man.
All right.
Tarka.
I was thinking that maybe do an animation about positive Black history before slavery to inspire the Black youth globally, like an African queen, a king, a society, and learn about the positive great empires that we had to inspire the youth globally so that, hey, we have great history too. Inspire us to get into mathematics, science, engineering. Like,
but I mean, I think the thing with things like that, we have to see, it can be on the list, but an animation is very expensive.
Right.
30,000 is not going to cut it. Like, we're not going to be able to do an animation for 30,000. Like, it's not going to happen, So I think that things like that is down the line. Like, maybe when we get to a point where we have 1,000 members or we have 2,000 members, that we can start looking at films and animation. And that is when we get to that. At this point, graphic novels, books, ebooks, audiobooks, initiatives like travel, conferences, like these are the sort of things that we'll be able to create. Apparel, merchandise, clothing, like these are things that we can actually do at this level. When it starts coming to that level of production, we won't have enough resources. We won't have enough resources to do that yet. But I think that it is something that is definitely on the list. I mean, down the line, doing things like animation and doing things like that is something that we will definitely look into. But we'll have to, listen, let's get the 300 first. As it stands now, let us even do a vote. If you're in the chat and you now have seen the African Union address, give me a 1 if you're going to join the 300 and you can commit to 1 year or you can actually commit to the 300. Give me a 1 in the chat. Give me a 1 in the chat, or a 2 if you can't.
How do I write in the chat from this panel?
Okay, we got 1.
I just muted the actual YouTube, and I'm just watching this one.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I want to see everybody put a 1 in the chat if you're applying to join the 300. Put a 1 in the chat.
Hey, Taharka, maybe we should make an animation about General Taharka. Wasn't he the Nubian general that picked out the Asiatics out of Egypt, ancient Egypt?
25th dynasty, man.
Yeah.
Nubian.
Exactly. Okay, so I've got 2. So we've got 2. We've got Carl Sinclair. We've got Virgil. But you see, this is what I'm saying. So, it's going to take a while. We've got 74 people. Okay, we've got 3. JJ Jones. Okay, we've got 4. We've got 4. We've got 5. We've got 6. We've got 7. Wow. 7 people. That's not bad. That is not bad. 8. Wait. Everybody, don't be listen. Because Virgil, you know that when people get excited, does everybody who's putting the 1 know what the 300 is?
I mean, $100.
People are just putting 1. I'm like, does everybody know what the concept is, what it is, what we're doing? Like, before you put 1 in the chat, that's 9. So we've got 9 already. Guys, does everybody know what it is before you put your 1 in the chat? Okay? That's very important that you know what it is before you put the 1 in the chat. Because like I said, if we have the meeting, I mean, if we get to 300 this week, we will have the meeting next week. Like, I'm not going to waste any time. There is no time wasting. We will have the meeting. Virgil, do you know how amazing episode 2 of The Crusaders is?
Oh, I'm sure it is, man.
Listen,
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I've had the comic for a while, and I'm just waiting.
Part 2. Listen, man, like that's why I don't even talk about it, because I showed it to Chosen One. Chosen One was confused. He was like, what the level jump? The level jump. Chosen One looked at it, was like, what the heck? I showed him 1 page. No, 2 pages. I showed 1 page on Patreon, but I showed him like a few things. And I said, listen, Chosen, man, like that part 2, that's why I'm excited, because I'm saying that people don't even understand the levels to which I'm taking things. Like, we're going to be doing things at a level beyond anything that is out there. Anything. Nothing is going to touch what we're going to make. The clothing. Has anybody gotten the mugs? Because I have a set of those mugs, the Kings of Africa mugs. When people even message me, do you know how, again, it's because people don't know, so they don't have it yet. But the quality of the stuff that I'm making them to a level whereby once the machine gets going, and we actually still get going, and we are self-sustaining, and we are actually producing our stuff, and it's, like I said, it is self-sustaining. What even Emeka is talking about will not be difficult to do. We will be able to make animations. We'll be able to make those decisions. But you see, what I'm saying is that we want to be in a position where somebody like him could come and say that, and we can vote and do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we want to be. Not that he says that and I say, ooh, that's too expensive, man. I mean, that's a lot of money. You know, we can't do. We want to move past that.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want money to be an obstacle. You know,
be the obstacle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, we don't want money to be the obstacle.
Sadly, money's a necessity, but I mean,
right,
it is what it is.
Okay, so there we go. So we have everybody. Let me see how many ones did we get. Let me see. 1. I think we had about 10. 7. Let me count. Hold on. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9. Yeah, 9.
Okay.
Oh, Merc, I forgot to say something. I forgot to add a detail. You know.
Wait a minute, Seka, are you joining the 300?
Yeah, of course. I've already put.
Okay. We have 10.
My username is different over here.
Oh, what's your username?
Ramses Tree.
Ah, that's you. Okay. Right.
You can't beat Taharka and Ramses at the same time, man. Choose one.
Thank you, JJ Jones.
But Merc,
yes.
As I was saying, fuck, what was I saying? Basically, fuck, I forgot what I was about to say.
Oh, it's all right. Emeka, are you joining? Or Emeka, you're not joining the 300?
Your mic.
How do you put one? Is it private chat or the comments?
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, no, you can't. I'm just asking you if you're joining. You don't have to join. I'm just asking. It's just a question. Everybody who wants to join, the link to the form is in the video of the YouTube now. Please fill it in before we get off this live. Fill in the form before we get off the live if you want to join. Everybody who wants to join, fill in the application on this live before we get off the live, because I'm shutting down the live in a minute. Sign up now if you wish to join the 300 group. What I'm going to do after this live is I will post the State of the African Union address on my socials. It will be posted to Instagram. It will be posted to TikTok. It will be posted. It's already on my newsletter. It's already on my Patreon. It's already on YouTube. And then I will post the clips of the State of the African Union on my platforms as well. And we will see if we will put our money where our mouths are.
Mm-hmm.
I like that other guy who came on here and he disappeared. The Raven something. He was about to say some serious stuff and he never came back.
Raven Phoenix, I believe.
Yeah, he never came back.
I wonder what
I
happened.
liked what he was about this. Yeah, he kept disconnecting. I don't know what happened.
But Merc, you know that
Yes.
there's a patriotic fund for Burkina Faso that's from officially from the government, right? You know that's how they're financing their war effort, right?
I'm going to tell you something.
Yes.
All I care about now is what I can do directly.
No, I was just putting that in just to
No, I know what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, and it's great. I trust nothing. If I'm going to send money to I don't do that anymore. Nah. My thing now at this point is that, look, this group, we are in complete control of it. We are in complete control. You guys, like Virgil said, how many creators can you get on the phone? You're talking to me directly. Directly. How many guys can you do this with? How many?
not much.
When guys get big time, I have 1 million people following me. But I don't have an ego about it. That's the key. Because the idea now is like you said, Virgil, like the problem is if you're doing things and you're doing it for the reason of becoming big, I'm a big creator, I'm this and that, people can't reach you, they can't communicate with you, you don't have a connection to your community. What's the point? What's the point? So from my point of view, what I'm trying to create is a real synergy. Like we are now part of the solution. And that's why I'm doing it in this system whereby there is a high level of accountability, very high level of accountability. The person in the chat, G, who was talking about, G, you don't even have to wait for 1 year to take stock. You will know within 3-4 months. When we do, my vote is to do the Nigerian, true history of Nigeria is my vote for the first project. My vote is to do that. Print, ebook, audiobook, triplicate of the true history of Nigeria is my vote for the first one project. Because I think that because of the fact that the Nigeria encompasses the Yorubas, the Igbos, the Hausas, the Edo tribe, it encompasses tribes that affect so much of Africa and the diaspora from Brazil to Cuba to Haiti and all of this, that I think it would be a really good one to start with. So my vote would either be that or Haiti. And the reason why I would go with Haiti is because of the fact that they won their revolution. So I think it'd be and nobody knows that history. Like it's history that people don't talk about. People pretend it never happened. That I think it would be really
happened for a good reason.
Right. So I think it'd be really interesting to do something like this where it's not a negative, it is a very, very positive piece of history that we can put out that people can just know about, and we finance it ourselves. But I know that there's Haitians who are doing things. So, and look, as a Nigerian, I'm like, you know what? Listen, the Nigerian one is a big thing to me. Nigerians do not know their history, man. And I'm one of them. You know, we just don't know. Like, we don't know our history. So for me, on a personal level, that is the project that I would like to do first is.
I'm curious, to what extent? Like, what exactly do you mean? Like, Nigerians don't know their history?
So the average Nigerian. So if you go on the streets in Nigeria, let me give you an example. If you go to the average Nigerian and you say that, what was the civil war? They can't tell you. Who fought the civil war? They can't tell you. Why was it fought? They can't tell you. What years was it for? They can't tell you. Just base level. They cannot tell you that. You go to the average Nigerian and you say, okay, look, what were we doing before the British colonized us? They can't tell you.
Oh, wow.
They cannot tell you.
It's like that in most of Africa, and Cameroon is the same.
Yeah, it's like
it's
Cameroon was part of Nigeria, my friend. Nigeria and Cameroon were the same place.
Igbo and Bamileke people got a lot in common. So
yeah, so it's like Cameroon wasn't a different country. Like Nigeria, like the landmass that we call Nigeria now and Cameroon, that was like the same place, which is the reason why there were so many border issues and disputes in the northern parts of Nigeria and Cameroon, is because suddenly people who were like him, they were just like, oh no, this is the border now. It's now a different country. A lot of families got screwed up over that, including mine, because I have family in that area. So when I talk about Cameroon, it's like, no, man, Cameroon was not a different country. Like, same thing when you go to Benin Republic, like Benin and Nigeria and where Benin is and all that sort of stuff. It wasn't a different country. So I think that, as you said, all Africans suffer from this, which is why the True History of Africa series is important, because I think that no African nation as a group know their own history. So
Except Mali. Except Mali, Ethiopia. Malians and Ethiopians are a little bit different, but yeah.
Ethiopia, yes. Mali, do they?
Malian, yes, because like I said, I speak French, so I run it, and I live in the same city as them, and they do actually know that. Like, even if you go on their Instagram, like youth like me, right, young guys like me, they'll go on their Instagram, they'll talk about Sunjata Keita, not only like popular ones like Mansa Musa, like even the ones like Sunni Ali Bear.
Sunni Ali, right? Yeah.
Mohammed, like the least popular ones, right? That nobody knows about. Like they can.
Because I know that Ethiopians do. I know that,
And that's the reason why the revolution first kicked off in Mali and not in Burkina Faso or Niger.
Right.
Like, we've been praising Ibrahim Traore, but the real thing
it started in Mali. Yeah, right.
It started in Mali, and if it wasn't for Mali, there would be no Burkina Faso, and if it wasn't for both of them, there would be no Niger, because it's Mali who started to back up military Burkina Faso. Because I don't know if you know, but since I'm following it in live, the Malian army is getting like really, really strong, like really, really strong. Like that's why the French wouldn't intervene, So
right. Well, the Mali army are also being supported by Russia, so
yeah, but like Russia is not like those Western countries that just like come and try to fight your fight, like try to and put military bases. No, like Russia actually sells to you those defense equipment, those fighter jets, everything.
Not only that, the Russians actually train your soldiers. Yeah. They actually go and train you. Like people don't understand, like the Russian principles of how they've done things. That is the reason why they have so much African support, man.
Exactly.
People don't understand. It's like, why is it that South Africa support these guys so much? Why does Angola support Russia so much? Why does all these Sahel nations support? People think that it's because we're dumb. That's the narrative that they keep putting in the Western press, is that these Africans, these dummies, these idiots,
that we're changing masters.
Changing masters, because they don't know the history. They don't realize that this is the result of 100 years of Russian foreign policy in Africa. It's 100 years of consistent backup and support from these guys for over the last century. They don't know that. So they don't know that if the Russian government goes to Mali and said that, listen, we need you guys to hook us up, it's an automatic yes. They go to South Africa, there is nothing that Russia is going to ask South Africa that they'll say no. Nothing. Because of what they did during apartheid. It's like there's just, and I'm talking about black South Africa, not the the Democratic Alliance. I'm talking about the ANC groups and all these those groups, because of the historic relationship between them and Russia, anything they ask for.
Well, China would be a great example, because during the Mao Zedong era, it was Russia that sent its cadres over to China, or the Soviet Union that sent its cadres to the PRC at the time and trained their people. Hence, where China is now. That's a great example. They came from nothing, and look at them. Look at them. So
I think it's a tactic of diplomacy that the West will never learn, because they are so arrogant and disrespectful, and they only focus on themselves and exploitation. The diplomacy that Russia employs is the kind that gets you loyalty. It actually gets you respect and loyalty, not this twisted adulation that people have for white society. When people look towards Russia, it's actually respect and loyalty, because they look at them like, nah, man, these guys actually, why do you think so many rebels in Africa use AK-47s?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is the weapon of choice for militants? It's like, even the weapons, it's like, historically, the reason why all of these Russian weapons are in the hands of Africans is because of, when you look at when they came in, they were given to people who were fighting against imperialists, and then it's ended up in the hands of terrorists now because those weapons just keep flowing and going on. These sorts of things are really, really important for people to understand. And it's part of the reason why I said, look, learning about history, I'm not a propagandist. I don't believe in pro-Russian propaganda. I just believe in the truth and just the history of the truth. And the more that we know of the truth, the easier it is for us to make the decisions that we need to make for the good of our communities. And I think at the age I'm coming to now, I realize that everybody that you're looking at, which is why Lawanda's comment is so important when she said that we're listening to the wrong people. They want you to listen to celebrities and sports personalities and Afrobeat stars and actors. That's who they want you to listen to because they control them. That is the reason why they want you to listen to these people. That is why it's not rocket science. They want that. That is why I tell people that the biggest mistake you can make as an African is listening to singers and rappers and sports personalities. Don't listen to these people.
Oh yeah. They're there to promote degeneracy, and it's a tactic.
Don't listen to them. And also, and they're also there to promote kumbaya. Let us hand in hand we stand all across the land.
Yes.
You remember that song? That's what they're here to promote. It's I'm like, listen, I am not militant. I'm just realistic. It's like, look, we know through history that you do not care about us. You do not care about our interests. We know this. So why the hell am I going to be trying to work with you?
Exactly.
There's no reason for it. It's like, no, I mean, when Macron said what he said recently, as you know what he said, that proves my point. The absolute audacity to open his mouth and say that as the president of France, and to say that to the ambassadors in Africa. He said that as an event of all the African ambassadors, the French African ambassadors. For him to say that,
I don't know if you heard the part where he said that
it's a disease.
Africans are not humans, because he said that ingratitude is something that cannot be transmitted.
No, he didn't. No. Let us be fair. He didn't say this is what he said. He said ingratitude is a disease that is not man-made.
No, because I know the French version, because I speak French, right?
Okay, so what did he say? What did he say?
The French translation. So they fucked the translation, but he said this in French. I can repeat the sentence in French and then I'll go in English. He said, "L'ingratitude est une maladie non transmissible à l'homme," which means
not transmissible by man. Yes.
No, not by man. Non transmissible à l'homme. Donc not transmissible, not transmittable to man.
Oh, really?
He said that. And that's why Ibrahim Traore came afterwards, and then he shot back. She shot some fire back, because that was outrageous. It made a huge scandal in the French African community. And this is why I keep saying that a common language for all of us is very, very, very important. Because see, I come with some insights that you could have not have had, because you only speak English. I speak both.
I didn't know that. That's an importance. That's important. Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
One question to Harka. I'm curious. After that statement, how did the French population respond or react to it? The white French population.
See, the white French population, they actually believed the government government was out there trying to help Mali, and then the Malis are ungrateful, etc., right? But there's two factions of the white French population. There's the first faction that says, okay, Macron is quite kind of crazy for saying that in a moment like this, and then there's the other part who agrees with him. So
yeah, I mean, look, okay, so there you go. That's even crazier than I thought it was. So anybody who's going to come out as a president of France and say that in 2025 shows that anybody who's talking about working with these guys is a clown.
And it shows you that Western propaganda is so powerful. See how in the translation they fooled you guys. He really said ingratitude non transmissible à l'homme. And now
wait a minute. It's worse than that. those are the people who even were willing to print what he said. A lot of articles just said he made statements that were very blah, blah, blah. They didn't even print what he said. A lot of places I had to go and search for even articles that would actually quote what he said. So that it's even worse. Like, people want to listen. Let me tell you this, right? Nobody in any of the Western press to this day, Captain Traore has been in office for 2 years now. They have not printed any of the good things he's done.
Not one.
None of them. Not one.
But wait,
Not
every
one.
time there's a little terrorist attack, because
they print that.
They've been printed like crazy. Because
anytime anything bad happens, they print that.
Like crazy. And you know what's funny is because I know some people that are Burkinabe and they got cousins in the army, right? And what they explained to me is that like they're winning like 90% of the time. They're actually winning. They're not taking really that much losses. They're killing a lot of the terrorists that are backed by the NATO, obviously. And every time the terrorists just kill like maybe like 10, 20 people, they go crazy for months, and like it's crazy.
Yeah, well, look, you know what? Look, this is the thing, right?
It's all about them controlling the airwaves, and that's definitely one thing we need to work on.
Do you know what? One day, maybe before I leave the world, maybe when I'm in my 70s, I'll work with a linguist and create a universal language for Africa.
Now, I think that we should just take an existing language and then try to expand from
No,
there.
do you know why that would never work? I'll tell you why it would never work.
Let's go right now. What would that
I know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
Yeah, we're too tribal. There's never going to work. Like, there is no tribe that is going to accept that the Yoruba language is going to be the language of all of Africa. Ain't no way. I wouldn't accept that. I wouldn't. Like, even with all the things I've said, I am not going to have Yoruba as the language of Africa. I will not accept it. So even me, like I'm like, wait a minute, why? Am I going to have Igbo as the language of Africa? No, I'd still feel the same way. So for me, it's like the only way forward is that you've got to create a completely neutral language that is new, that everybody in Africa said that, look, we're going to just make a new language that everybody will learn, and it'll be a universe so that we can all understand each other.
Well, there is one language that could play that role, what you just said. There's Medu Nature. You know what Medu Nature is, right?
No.
That's a term in the conscious community, correct?
Isn't that the ancient Egyptians, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's their language, and their language actually got like really a lot of common like with like my language, because us the Bamileke people, we talk a language that's called Meduba, right? And in the both languages, the word Medu means words, right? So like those languages are quite easier to learn for those that already speak an existing and used African language, right? But there's also another alternative. There's also Franca Lingua, right? You know what a Franca Lingua is, right? Basically, a language like English that is already like gone through frontiers. Like English, somebody could live in India his whole life and speak English. It's not a language that is tied down to only England.
No, I understand that. Listen, okay, look, in reality, look, this is the reality. Where we can't get away from English, at least not now. So English is going to be the language, and I think everybody learning English, I think it's a good thing at this point in history now, where everybody speaks the same language. If it is English, it is what it is. What is more important is the kind of initiative we are talking about. I believe that if we are able to set up this 300 community and actually start producing things and actually start doing things, I think that is the beginning of setting a precedent. Like I said, the Macron saying that I think should be a wake-up call. These people will never change. If he's going to come out and make that sort of statement, it's like these guys are never going to change. Like as far as they are concerned, you are subservient, and you should be grateful for everything that you are given. And your job is to provide the resources to them. That is your job and duty. And there will always be Africans willing and able to aid and abet that nonsense. That is actually part of the reason why, looking at that microcosm, we've got to set up what we're setting up. Because even within my own community, there's a bunch of clowns. Even in my own community on this platform, there are guys who their only job is to just cause problems. Where anything that you're trying to do, guys just come to call. I want to remove that from the equation. So I think, realistically speaking, why is this thing so bright? Is my camera bright?
Oh,
I
you're
mean,
good.
I feel like it's normal. It's
All
a
right.
good quality.
Yeah. So realistically, look, this has been an epic live. It's been almost 3 hours. My God. What I believe now is that we know what we need to do. Let us see if we make the target. My votes are 2 votes. I have 2 votes of what I believe should be the first 2 things: the true history of Nigeria and the Crusaders' completion. Those are the 2 things I would vote for.
What's the second one? I didn't hear it properly.
The Crusaders' completion.
What is
He doesn't know what the Crusaders is.
I don't know what it is.
Let me tell you what the Crusaders is. The Crusaders are a group of British-born Nigerian adventurers who go on adventures around the world to take back artifacts that were stolen from Africa during colonialism and return them back to Africa. That's who the Crusaders are. And it's a graphic novel series. Part 1 is already out.
Part 1 already came out, and he already completed the second one. And we're
I'm
on standby.
completing the second
Wait,
one. I'm in the
you made that series yourself?
Okay.
Say what?
You made that series yourself?
I told you you're new. You don't know what we do here.
I am. I can't hide myself.
You don't know what I said. That I'm a man of action. I don't talk. I do things. When I'm talking about part 2, I'm not talking about it in the, like I say, maybe I'm doing part 2. The pages are being taken. I'm on active duty, so I don't just say things. So yeah, you're new to the platform. This platform is a platform of action. So when you join the 300, I'm not just talking. We are making what we talk about. Facts. Shabaka, I told you, please stop typing in caps. Please stop typing in caps. Okay? So anyway, guys, so that'll be my votes for the first 2 things. For the first 2 quarters is, you see, the thing about the second quarter is that for the series, it's 6 episodes. Episode 1 is done. Episode 2 is almost finished. So one of the quarters, I would want it to be for episode 3. So my vote would be that the first quarter would be the true history of Africa, the true history of Nigeria, and the next quarter would be episode 3. Or episode 3 and then the true history, one of the 2, because those are things that are already in motion and it would be very easy to just keep that momentum going. And they're products that are very accessible to the general public. So you get those things out immediately and people can access it, they can get it, Other than that, we've got to then start thinking like the Burkina Faso thing. I'm really interested in that, to be honest. Like if there's a way, my goodness, do you know what I would love to do? Like I said, man, is because I'm already in the Crusaders, I would make Captain Traore merchandise. That's what I would do. I'd make Captain Traore. People should be wearing this guy on their shirts.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
That's what I would do. I want it to be a fashion thing, his image. The reason why is that we're in the age of social media and they're trying to make him out to be a villain. We need to create a thing where he becomes, this guy is we need to make him a celebrity.
Yeah.
Because
True.
then it makes it harder for you to demonize him. And that's what we need to avoid is the idea that you're going to try and demonize him to justify going in there and messing him up. So that is one of the concepts that I would have in my mind, that is there a way, I don't have the answer now, but is there something we can do to really solidify his image in a positive way?
I think that would be to open food banks and then just say like, oh, this is from Captain Traore or something, or put it in his name, but actually it's really
Good
us.
idea. Very good idea. That's a good in America and places like that, right?
Not in America, more so in Burkina Faso, because even in Burkina Faso, he got some enemies, like even down there, and
Yeah, but the thing is that no, you see that's the problem with that for me. Again, once you start doing that, we don't have the control to actually enact those things ourselves. If we're trying to do something in Burkina Faso, then we have to find somebody there. We have to get the money there. We have to make sure it's being used correctly. We have to do. What I'm saying is that anything that gets done needs to be done where we have direct control and ability to execute it. So I liked the idea that I thought you were saying is that, if you wanted to create whereby this guy is inspiring people to do things, is there things that you can do in the West that could be linked to him that will actually make people more aware of what he's doing over there? You see what I'm saying? So if in America they want to now set up a food bank or do something for education, like education would be fantastic. And you
yeah,
say that this is connected to the alliance or to this guy, it automatically makes young people aware of him in America.
I'll admit that is very
that
bold
is a
and
good idea.
It's
A
very
food,
very,
bold and what?
very bold and ambitious. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's backlash due to political reasons. But I do get where you're coming from.
I'm not, listen, again, this is what, again, you see what I said about 300? This is what a
Mhm.
meeting would be about. Like we talk
Yeah.
about it. I'm not saying that this is the right move. It will be on the list. We'll
Mhm.
figure out what the project is, put it on the list, we'll vote. I will not be the one to say this is what we're doing, but that's the point of creating that group. But
Mhm.
I think that we need to do it in a way that we have control over execution,
Yes.
because I don't want something where we have to send money and then we have to now figure out if it's being used correctly and where is it being used and what is it. No, we don't do that. I think, look, there's a lot of people struggling in America. There's a lot of Black people struggling in America and in the UK that need
Mhm.
help. And in Canada, France, that, there's things that we can do in these communities. And then we link it to the alliance. We're like, listen, these people have inspired us to stick together and to do things. Is there things that we can do in America whereby, look, as Virgil said, the backlash will be crazy. If you do something like that in America,
Yeah.
because it's such a positive thing, oof,
I think it would be better in France, but I don't know if you got people in France. That's the issue.
the backlash would be ferocious, man, because that is the thing that they do not want. Imagine a hero, an African hero, rising in America that you cannot control. You can't control that hero. Like, if Captain Traore becomes an icon in America, the dude is in bloody West Africa. You can't control that. What press are you going to put? You're going to put out press. Oh, he's a despot. Is that like, no, because we've got social media, so we don't care what you say.
True.
You see what I'm saying? The usual
Mhm.
tactics that they would use to smear you, which is what they used on Gaddafi, you can't do it to Captain Traore because we've got social media now. If social media was what it was now in 2011, Gaddafi wouldn't be dead. He
It
wouldn't
would
be
have
like,
there would have been backlash at least
at
after.
least backlash, but I don't think it would have even. I don't think they would have even gotten to the point of what happened. What happened was categorically because of this sheer weight of negative propaganda against him. That valid, because remember, it was a NATO backed thing. And in order for NATO to do what they did, they needed the consensus of the people. They needed that. Now it would be very hard. It would be very, 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 very difficult to pull that off. And that's what I think that is important now. Anyway, look, we're rambling now. These conversations are the conversations that I think that we would have. I think that they're really interesting conversations. Not saying that any of these projects necessarily that we're talking about now would happen, but these are the things that we would be talking about as potential projects that we would do. But I think what's important is that we are actually in control of these conversations and we're able to execute them immediately. Super Pace, you're late to the party. And yes, Macron would have a heart attack. That would give him he would have a heart attack. If Let me tell you this, and this is a joke. I'm gonna say this is a joke because it's not gonna happen. Can you imagine? All right, guys. A Captain Traore cartoon.
Oh shit. Oh.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking about it.
And he has a cape. He has a cape and a bit, and he's like fighting people and everything. And it's a cartoon.
And then there's like posters everywhere.
And there's
The
posters and
African,
I
the
think that's
African
what we should really
Captain
do.
America.
Posters everywhere in the metro.
in the
Metros, because that's
listen,
where
I
you want
tell
to
you
highlight.
what, that's I will be first of all, I'll be taken out. So you'll just find it in the newspaper. They said the mech has been taken out, poisoned, or a sniper took me out. Everybody will be wiped out if that happened. I'm telling you, that's if that happens, because that is dangerous. That is dangerous.
Very dangerous.
That you cannot control. That is something that goes beyond even him as a man. Like that then becomes dangerous.
But I'll tell you what, there are steps to this to avoid all the negative backlash that I alluded to earlier. For instance,
She said, Theola
I-
says action figures.
action figures.
Captain Traore action figures.
Yeah, but
You know what's so amazing about this is that if I was 12, he looks so cool, I would buy it. I'd buy a Captain Traore action figure because he looks like an action figure.
A lot of aura. He's got a lot of aura.
He looks like an action figure. So I would actually get that. This is not even a crazy, anyway, look, it is crazy because we would get taken out if we do it. But I'm just saying that concept, Macron would have a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
He would. Do you know what would be wild? Guys, I've got a better idea. What if you do nah, I shouldn't say this on the live. I shouldn't say this on the live. Yeah, I'm not going to say that, no. Guys, I'm going to end the live and I'm going to tell you guys this off air. So stay on. Stay on. I'll tell it to you off air. All right, guys, look, I'm going to end the live because I don't want to get into trouble, but I'll tell it to you off air. Hold on. Okay, guys, everybody who wants to sign up to the 300, sign up to the sign up sheet. It is in the chat room. The conversation I'm going to have off air is the kind of conversation that I would reserve to the 300 because I do not want to get into trouble. I do not want to get my channel taken down. But we'll do that. But thank you everybody for listening in. I am out.